was originally a network novel author, but when his novel ended, he received messages from many readers. The online bullying was only because his ending revealed the reality, shocking many readers. Those who feel discontent in the novel, the male protagonist Zhang Shihu was originally a hero revered by all, enjoying the admiration of everyone. Pai actually wasn't a good person and instead made people despise him. Yet Shin Kang-hu was using his own methods to protect the world. When Zhang Shihuan dealt with Shin Kang-hu, everyone thought that peace had finally come to the world and they were all looking with adoring eyes. Zhang Shihuan only saw Zhang Shihuan slowly float in the air and snap his fingers once, followed by a red beam appearing. The aperture of light was just then enveloped by a terrifying force, turning the once azure sky into a blood-red one in an instant. Color accompanied the sound of lightning as if the sky was torn apart. A huge black hole appeared in front and closed quickly. Then up appeared in the enormous black hole. The Zhang Shihuan with his palm at this moment laughed maniacally as that giant hand fell. The world faced destruction, and this concludes the story of this novel. The author finally wrote a segment that crushed the readers, Zhang Shihan. The devil's sacrifices, with him at the head of the remaining 12 chimpanzees, are all meant to represent evil. The author wants to tell the audience this. The novel also represents reality. The inspiration for this novel came from his life. Some bullies in school used their own. Strength has altered the world's perception of good and evil, inverting its moral views. After readers finish the novel, they are bullying the author on the software. Even when giving the lowest score in the ratings, the author forcibly calmed down and closed the software, then lay down. The author, lying in bed, still remembers those harsh reviews. Damned author, why does he have to have an open-ended ending? What kind of reality is this? Why did you write it like this? Is everything just about reality? I see this author is also grounded in reality. In the middle is a bug cultivator who likes to boast about his abilities. These negative reviews are like bombs exploding. This keeps exploding in the author's head. Only he could calm himself down and not think about those upsetting things, sleeping soundly. He didn't know how long he had slept. His eyes slowly opened and he felt some commotion nearby. When the man opened his eyes, he found himself in a strange environment and looked around wondering why. What are you sleeping in this place? At this moment, a sudden barrage of insults rang out, interrupting the man's thoughts, only to see a man in uniform hitting another man on the ground. Curse you, you damn guy! How dare you ignore the lunar eclipse's blessing? When a man sees the face of the one who was hit, Moshe subconsciously cursed at it. What the hell is that guy doing here? The person in uniform in my dream lifted up the other person by the collar and loudly abused them. You useless waste! Trouble you too! Stop being useless and please quit while you're behind. If you keep going, he's going to die. Then the main male's voice came through and the man stopped his fists mid-air, turning around. He turned his head towards the source of the voice and walked up to its side, saying coldly, I thought it was someone else, but turns out it's you. It's you, waste of a person, then punched and kicked the person in front of him/her. You can't even finish your own work. What qualifies you, a waste of life, to talk to me? Seeing this, the man beside her hurriedly pulled away the other person. The male lead was hit. The gaze is somewhat dazed. This isn't a dream. Why does it still hurt in dreams? The person who was just hit runs over anxiously. Kang-hu, are you all right? The main male's heart leapt in surprise. What? What does he call me Kang-hu? The main character doesn't believe what the other is saying and quickly gets up to see his own appearance, coming to the front. At the edge of the pond, as his hands touched the ground, a surge of magic power unexpectedly flowed back into the male lead's body. He looked at his own hands. It seems like I'm associating something with that. Isn't this the ability only Cong-hu was born with? A congenital magic sensitivity disorder. When the protagonist saw the inverted reflection appearing by the pond, it was only then that he finally confirmed that he had truly become the person from his novel. Shin Kang-hu couldn't help but laugh maniacally. Why didn't I end up as Zhang Shihuan? At least with my current self, I can still receive praise from society. But now that I've reincarnated into Shin Kang-hu, who everyone reviles, it's a different story. The main character looked at the man in front of him and thought about how he still lived. That means this takes place after the novel ends. 5 years ago, if the story had developed this way, when the Demon King appeared, it would have been the end of the world. If I don't change this outcome when I disappear, I will die here. Then the male lead weakly stood up, his gaze serious as he looked forward, as if he had made some kind of decision. Since it's like this, then I will rewrite the ending again. This man has already started seeing himself as Solid Tiger right now. Putting my own panel together, even though I'm still in a trashy stage, but I am... Men who use cheat software realize just 2.5 minutes into their work that something is wrong. He was a bit frustrated with himself for setting such a tough condition for this guy. The disgusting buff ultimately harms both others and oneself. At this moment, the man who was beaten earlier ran over, looking somewhat worried. Does Shin Kang-hu's body have no problems? Shin Kang-hu let the man rest assured. He was just feeling a bit fatigued. Then, in his mind, he pondered who the owner of this mine cave was. Despite this mine cave, the master is an organization called Yueshi. They kidnapped a batch of new hunters using special methods. control them like slaves, extracting energy minerals day and night without respite. Kang Hu reminded the man that with your current condition, don't think about escaping from the mine, otherwise you will die there. The man who had his thoughts seen offhandedly scratched his head and awkwardly indicated that he wouldn't run away. And then they began the arduous mining process again. 2.5 hours passed, and from afar came a commotion, only to see the man kneel before the guard. Before begging, the black slaves nearby whispered among themselves about how that guy had tried to take advantage when the guards went to receive the new arrivals. When running away during the night, I didn't expect to be caught by the guards. The guards then drew their weapons from their bodies. Watching the man on the ground shouting loudly to those nearby, "Open your eyes, all of you! Look well, this is the consequence of failing to escape." Next, a Dao inserted the other person's heart directly into their heart. Everyone witnessed this. Were you dumbfounded by this cruel scene? Shin Kang Hu just watched coldly as the scene unfolded and said nothing. The body of the other party felt a bit regretful that it had already warned him, but he didn't. It looks like I'm still unable to change the course of the novel. The guard beside him saw Shin Kang Hu strike the opponent this time. Why aren't you stopping me? If you try to stop me, I don't mind taking you down with me. Killed the latter with an extremely indifferent tone and replied that the death of that guy has nothing to do with me before turning. Head turned and looked at the guard. Can you take me to the bathroom? Wei's disdainful smile was useless. Are you really so worthless that you wet your pants? The two of them arrived at the toilet, and the guards told, Shin Kang Hu, you have only 1 minute to solve this. If you dare take more than a second, I don't mind disposing of you. Below that, Shin Kang Hu cut it out without saying anything and opened the bathroom door, observing the surroundings. He thought it was right here, while the guard at the entrance was reading. At this moment, Shin Kang Hu found a protruding place, cut his palm, and used his blood to draw something on the ground. The next second, a hexagram-shaped magic array was drawn out. Immediately, as the magic array began to emit light, Shin Kang Hu looked at the magic array and said, Come on, I know you're watching me. As I recite a spell, a dazzling light emanates from the magical array. Outside the door, the guard reminded Shin, Kang Hu, you have 10 seconds to put on your pants right now. Turning his head, Kang Hu looked at the magic array. Don't you wonder how a trash like me summoned you? See? The other party didn't reply, but continued to say that the person who can maximize your power is only me. Right after that, a force appeared the next second. Shin Kang Hu widened his eyes and his laughter became increasingly manic. I knew you would. He would appear, and in the novel, Shin Kang Hu would use this magic to do so. The array has changed its role to dimensional robber, and the current magic array is also activating. You really are a bold guy to make a sound like that. You successfully attracted my attention. Pay attention, since you're so eager, I'll let you borrow a bit of my power, but you owe me. Prove how you can activate my abilities, Jung-ho. Sigh, just watch closely. It's happening now in 60 seconds. Already irritated, he opened the gate only to find nothing inside. Nothing, can only see. Your own shadow appears at this moment as a prompt showing that all your skill levels have reached max. Shin Kang Hu suddenly appeared in front of the guard and then used a lateral movement skill to defend himself. Before him, only a faint silhouette remained as the guard subconsciously looked behind him, only to find the toilet empty, not a soul in sight. The next second, Shin Kang Hu appeared again. The guard quickly inserted a stick into the opponent's neck, and as the stick was pulled out, the guard also. He slowly fell to the ground, and even the guards who had always been on duty never encountered such a situation. Shin Kang Hu looked at the dead guard. Kang Hu inwardly thanked the dead man just now, if it weren't for him. You won't choose to go out today, and then the magic array speaks again, saying, You are indeed very interesting. Shin Kang Hu didn't. There was no sound as he silently watched the body in front of him decompose. Picked up the long sword on the ground and stared at the distance. From now on, I will only follow. Front view, I won't look back anymore. Shin Kang Hu solved it and took him to the bathroom. The guard simultaneously grabbed the other person's clothes. He had stripped off and was thinking about how to escape when he accidentally discovered a large number of gasoline barrels nearby. He immediately poured out all the gasoline and prepared to set it on fire. Here, they tried to escape the base by causing a commotion with a big fire. As the lighter fell down, a big fire followed, and Shin Kang Hu not only didn't slowly walk out from the flames. Above! The guards shouted to quickly put out the fire and called the rescue team to hurry to mine number 18. Dong found that at this moment, a man was making everyone nervous. He prepared to drive them all to the crematorium for burial, to avoid outsiders discovering the base's secret. The sneaky little face told the driver that time is urgent and we need to hurry up. The driver in the car noticed through the mirror that there was actually another person sitting in the back seat. Seeing the other person's indifference, he felt somewhat warily asked if you swap shifts with our guard inside the vehicle. The person sitting in the car was none other than Shin Kang Hu in disguise, and Shin Kang Hu remained cold. Mo's response was affirmative. Someone had escaped from mine cave number 18. The probability is heading towards the northwest side, where someone told me there's barbed wire inside. The net was damaged. Shin Kang Hu intentionally broke the iron wire mesh in the northwest area before getting into the car, just to make sure. The other party is investigating inside, because that's where I am. The path that leads to the trap of Yuesha organization seems dark and unguarded, making it appear rather a reasonable escape route, but few know that every path is filled with traps. The safest place is actually to walk with the guards together. Because there are too many people in the Yuesha organization, nobody would notice who I am in this disguise now. The car has already driven out of the base. The man driving asks Shen Kanghu if there are hunters in the mine cave. It's hard to manage the latter as they wiped away the blood from their body and spoke up. Say as much, but at this moment, just kill those disobedient ones. The pale-faced one didn't respond, just listened silently. The two idle chatted, and after they finished, the fair-faced guy asked Shen Kanghu when he was in the number 18 mine cave. Why haven't I ever seen the one working? Yun Kanghu's heart sank as he replied calmly. I just got here a few days ago, and the slimy guy pressed on with more questions. Then you must have studied this in Unit 9, Shen Kanghu subconsciously replied. Answering with just one word is correct. Immediately, the pretty boy's eyes narrowed, fixing his gaze intensely on the opposite guard. Embarrassingly, Mr. Guard, Unit 9 doesn't exist at all. Hearing this, Shen Kanghu realized he had made a mistake. He hadn't expected to be drawn into it. Then, the corner of his mouth twitched into a smile. Come out if you're going to act like this, so just all of you stay here then. A flash of blade light passed over the fair-faced boy as the man driving the car saw this and widened his eyes in surprise. The eyes quickly stomped on the brake pedal, accompanied by the inertia of braking. Shen Kanghu fell forward, but instead, the corpse of the fair-faced man flew out through the broken window, the driver of the car. Yet a fireball appeared in his hand and shot towards. Shen Kanghu threw it, but simply turned his head to dodge. The man was cursing profanely as he built up energy for a fireball in the next second. The photon beam rose towards the sky, and after it disappeared, only a puff of smoke could be seen drifting in the car. The man smiled as he looked up at the sky. Thinking that Shen Kanghu was left without a hair after being beaten, the sound of him falling to the ground made the man turn to look, only to see Shen Kanghu. Perfectly intact, crouching on the ground, the next second, all that could be seen were lines. A faint image was immediately followed by the sound of breaking glass, as a long sword had already appeared in front of the man. A long sword pierced through the man's neck. Shen Kanghu's speed was so fast that it couldn't be caught by the naked eye just as he finished. Picking up the corpse caused Shen Kanghu's head to ache, seemingly due to overusing magic. Before Shen Kanghu could rest, the patrol team's car was already seen driving by the reflective mirror. Realizing this just now, Shen Kanghu found that things seemed to have slipped out of his control, but only. It's just some trouble. Then he jumped out of the car and slid down the slope outside as Shen Kanghu slid down. After you came, a voice also appeared in my ears. You're quite impressive. Not only did you manage to escape alive, but you also killed 2 guards casually. Shen Kanghu raised his eyes to see someone holding. The person with a mark on his head appeared in front of him. Shen Kanghu looked at the mark on the other party's head. Knowing that the other party is a hunter who has contracted with a constellation and is thinking. Examining the opponent's ability, he quickly placed his hand on the ground and felt the opponent's power. Immediately after, a prompt came through. The neutral constellation has the ability to track magic power. Shen Kanghu could sense the other's abilities. The reason is that, as a dimensional robber, his job only requires him to kill the hunters of the constellation contracts and then take over. Feng's constellation has become his own. Shen Kanghu smiled at the man in front of him and couldn't help but feel delighted inside. Very well, my first time is given to you. Watching the man in front thinking of a strategy, confronting him head-on would definitely not be wise given his abilities. Only by using cunning can we solve this. Then Shen Kanghu ran towards the small forest in front of him. The man smiled at Shen Kanghu, his eyesight akin to like an eagle catching a chicken. After Shen Kanghu entered the small forest, the man said with a mocking tone, You can. Make sure to hide well. If I catch you, you'll get it bad. Men's eyes turn blue and activate tracking. A night that originally was pitch black appeared particularly bright in the man's eyes. Wide eyes are like night vision goggles. The man with an axe is not slow in approaching. The grove is like a beast. In search of prey, a red light is discovered deep in the small woods. Turning around, it is found that the light is coming from behind a tree. A life form with tracking abilities comparable to heat imaging. The man smiled and said this. I found you, little mouse. Next, I'll handle what's in my hand. The axe was thrown over. The axe flew towards the tree in front with incredible speed, and with a crack, the thick. The large tree was split in two as it fell to the ground. At that moment, he finally revealed a hint of terror when he found nothing behind the big tree. The emotion isn't behind the tree. He must have hidden somewhere else. Suddenly, the man felt a strong pain. Both eyes widened and stared at what was in front of him. Shen Kanghu appeared in front of the man at some point, a long sword deeply stabbing into the man's neck. Shen Kanghu knew the importance of follow-up attacks and immediately twisted his long sword a circle, opening up to mock the other party. You're just... Why would a close combat profession throw their weapon out? Don't the weaker enemies have no chance to kill you too? Cherish this moment I gave you. Although you're about to die, Next second, body-healthy Tiger pulled out his long sword and solved it. A prompt came when the man fell down. You have killed the other party and plundered their constellation. System prompt voices echoed again. Due to your plunder of that star constellation, you cannot escape this constellation, except through your own death or the end of the contract. You will gain all skills from the target constellation. Body-healthy Tiger wiped his sweat and looked at the attribute panel in front of him, opening the hidden bar of skill frames. Skill bar jumped out the abilities originally belonging to men, magic tracking and night market born. Tiger saw these two skills, laughed out loud, exclaiming how he finally succeeded, then used the night market skill to look around and ensure. Surrounding him, suddenly a sudden sense of palpitation appeared, making Shin Kang-hu subconsciously cover his chest. The mouth and stomach coughed up blood, with each cough producing a lot of fresh blood. Blood felt its own weak body, and saw that the move just now was still too forced already. The scene shifts to when Shin Kang-hu just ran into the small grove. In order not to let the other party discover his trail, he forcibly suppressed his magic allergy state, and then proceeded to, "Oh, my magical power is being infused into a stone. If I don't suppress my magic sensitivity state, I'll end up affecting Joe. All the magic power absorbed into that position will be where I hide." Exposure immediately sent out a stone, and this stone was the red light the man saw. And for Shin Kang-hu approached the opponent and forcibly used the short-distance jumping skill in a series of movements. Reverting caused Shin Kang-hu to become like this, always accompanied by sunlight at dawn, Shin Kang. The tiger left here, preparing to find a safe place to heal its wounds. After about 2.5 hours, it finally moved. A truck loaded with sand stopped suddenly, and I jumped up. Yamato Koji steadily landed on the truck lying on the sand, enjoying his hard-won moment of relaxation, while also thinking of the current situation in my mind. I had no choice but to solve 3 people to escape from the mine cave. This is deviated from the novel's plot. Fortunately, I am still better than. More insignificant should not easily change the future. I can only try to accelerate my own changes. He has become stronger, and inside a building there are 2 voices. The voice is discussing a hoarse-lunged man smoking, while his tone is full of, "It's smart of him to use the organization's vehicle to hide himself." At this moment, Shin Kang-hu arrived at a phone booth. Now he is just 1 step away from death because of over. Using magic caused his stamina to fail to recover in time, leaving him unable to lift his hand to answer the phone. The number sounded weak when picked up, and they said, "I am Shin Kang-hu. Could you help me by going to the phone booth in the lobby?" The scene switches back to inside the building. The man sitting at the table with a cigarette in his mouth looked out the window and said, "You really. It's useless, a waste. Even I couldn't catch a level 10 assassin. They also enlisted a constellation hunter, but this will be an interesting hunt. Let me see what you've got." Ability. Shin Kang-hu made a phone call just before he died. Upon appearing at his ex-girlfriend's house, she carefully helped Shin Kang-hu treat his wounds, and learned that it was true. Her ex-girlfriend said with an apologetic expression that if she could have called more often after that thing, it would have been better. "Then they won't be able to catch you, Shin Kang-hu." Making a sound only caused him to look at him calmly. He was now level 150 and had contracted with a constellation. The hunter recalled what happened before, Shin Kang. He subconsciously rubbed his brow. If he hadn't broken up with him back then, maybe he would have been taken to that place too. Shin Kang-hu, who had finished bandaging the wound, prepared to get up and leave. After all, he was here now. It's the person wanted by the Lunar Eclipse organization. Getting involved with such a person is not something good. "Those who come later should hurry up and show that nobody would provoke me with my current strength, Shin Kang." The tiger turns its head and reveals a indulgent smile. "You don't need to worry. You just need to protect yourself." Ex-girlfriend carefully prepared a set of clothes for Shin Kang-hu and hesitantly checked on him with a phone. "Kang-hu, if we could go back to our previous state." Shin Kang-hu interrupted the other party, using an old Aunt Chi Hong-chu, said with a tone, hoping that none of us would be trapped by the past. "We still have a path we don't know ahead, although we don't know where that path leads, but we still. Or are you looking forward in hearing this?" Before finishing her sentence, his ex-girlfriend's cheeks left a trail of tears, revealing a smile that was a mix of relief and regret. She wiped them away. The tears on her face said calmly, "Yes, we should look forward. The things you asked me to do. All the detailed information about the other party has been handled for you. I looked at you with a sincere gaze and blessed your phone afterward. Farewell, and I hope everything goes smoothly for you." The latter also showed a fond smile, thanking you as well and hoping the same for you. After going downstairs, I flagged down a taxi to head back to Dadi Station. The driver turned on the radio inside the car, and the radio was playing. A rumor reports that the Cleaners Union eliminated the White Rose mercenaries. White Rose. Originally stationed in Nation N, a criminal organization that had suddenly descended upon. Here, the young couple driving suddenly have their cheeks sunken in, revealing an unsettling pallor. The people, like bone-shaped white roses, harvest ordinary folks like reapers in the darkness. Their arrival is like entering a hell on earth. For some reason, there are also a large number of people flooding into the city. The monster makes one wonder if this is really a god's doing. While they judged others under the banner of God, slaughtering humans at will, just when the world was about to be destroyed, He appeared, and at this moment, he looked like an angel. He started from himself. The purging plan also established a union named Purity, and Zhang Shihuan has been tracking it constantly. The whereabouts of the White Rose. White Kung Hu looks at the wind outside the window. Jing suddenly smiled at the corner of his mouth, thinking of something from the Jiangnan Station incident. The terrorist attack was never carried out by White Rose, because White Rose has never been a terrorist organization. The driver, who organized and heard the broadcast, was confessing to Zhang Shihuan, unaware that all of this was Zhang's plan. In Huan's self-directed and self-performed script, everyone regards Zhang Shihuan as a savior hero. Even children who just awakened are eager to join Zhang Shihuan's guild. If I reveal Zhang Shihuan's crimes to the world, would the world listen? Will never believe that I am only seen as... because I had my ex-girlfriend help me find one to deal with a nut job. The guy's guild is quite influential, and the best way is to become a mercenary. Shin Kang Hu tried. Use this identity to change everything. After 2.5 hours of driving to uncover these truths, Shin Kang Hu finally arrived at the place where they had agreed to meet. Then my ex-girlfriend's introduction also showed up. Laughing, I introduced myself and said my name is Li Yina, while Shin Kang Hu randomly made up a name to avoid revealing his identity. They shook hands friendlily and then... Li Yina was about to assign Shin Kang Hu his first task, but it turned out to be the toughest. Simple collection task, Shin Kang Hu yet gave me the most difficult one upon hearing this. The other party seemed heard a huge joke. You, a level 10 weakling, can do what tasks? You know what's the hardest task here? The next second, Li Yina's laughter suddenly stopped, replaced by an expression of shock. Shin Kang. The tiger unleashed its own magic power and looked at the opposite party as if considering an employment offer. Mercenary just needs power. Li Yina looked at. Shin Kang Hu said that keeping ambition is good, but it also needs recognition. Qing reality. Li Yina didn't want to waste words with the other party and turned to walk away. But Shin Kang Hu's one sentence made her stop in her tracks. When you don't understand one, you casually label him whenever you have personal time like this. Your bias is thus the product of ignorance. He heard those words and chuckled. Well then, let me see. Your strength, right? After that, the two stood facing each other, with Li Yina twisting her fingers into a spiral and playfully saying, If you can dodge my attack, it means you really have some strength. Then the dumpling in his hand turned into a sprite, and this sprite, Shin Kang Hu with his tracking abilities, guessed the elf's true intent, and he didn't use attack skills? I won't even get a scratch if I'm hit, and all I need to do is dodge his attacks. At this moment, Li Yina made the first move, and with a single finger gesture, the spirit flew towards Shin Kang Hu. Shin Kang Hu. There was no action as he calmly watched the elf, who exploded with a bang in the next second. But amidst the explosion, only... Seeing a black shadow, Li Yina turned her head away, only to find that Shin Kang Hu was actually walking on the walls of the building. Li Yina, who had been busy with pesticide for 2.5 years, exclaimed, Wow, so you're treating yourself like a farmer now, huh? Then Shin Kang Hu changed. Li Yina looked at the ability the other party displayed and couldn't help but smile as they charged in that direction. At first glance, this guy still has some skills, he pointed with a single finger. Shin Kang Hu, this time I'll see how you dodge the spirit like a cannonball. Bangs as it flies away, the two enact a scene of me chasing you. The attack hits Shin Kang Hu immediately. When Shin Kang Hu only slightly turned his head to dodge this attack, Li Yina was still marveling at Shen's agility. Kang Hu's ability allowed Shin Kang Hu to appear using a lateral movement skill. The next second, a long sword appeared on Li Yina's neck behind her. Test is over for now. Li Yina looked somewhat surprised at the other guy. He really only has 10. Then, he pushed aside the long sword by your neck and said, Congratulations on successfully passing the test with what you just demonstrated. I will give you a warrior-level deck task based on your coming strength. The two of you get in the car. Leaving, Li Yina's casual remark broke the awkward silence that Shin Kang Hu was keeping quiet about. Are you interested in bulletproof glass? Lately, someone keeps coming around to bother us. I don't know if the young master can help me solve it. Is that calm response from that gunner guy, or did he get excited and eat? Little brother, if you can solve his problem for me, I would be very grateful. Don't mind having it once with you, Shin Kang Hu. Unbelievable. Looking at the other party who didn't respond, Li Yina then summoned a sprite and took out. Shin Kang Hu took a look at the commission, and it was roughly about a task in an abandoned underground city. Find a 5th-level mage named Jinmu Xian and recover one. 3rd-grade item named Valteros's Blood Revival Tiger joked with me if I needed him alive. Come back? The latter smiled slightly. You can just kill him anyway. After all, he isn't... What good people I think the National Security Bureau would be pleased to see this situation. The scene then shifts. Shin Kang Hu arrived at the abandoned underground city and began aimless searching before he remembered Li Yina. The reminder would likely hide in obscure places, so finding him might take some effort. For Shin Kang Hu, catching him was as easy as turning one's palm over. After all, this place used to be part of the novel where Shin Kang Hu is very familiar with his hiding place here. At this moment, a few cute rabbits are hiding behind the rocks. He observed Shin Kang Hu, who also noticed Little Rabbit but made no sound. Instead, he used his longsword to cut his own palm, and at the moment blood began to flow, what was originally cute and gentle, the little rabbit gradually became more frantic. More rabbits smelled the scent of fresh blood and ran towards Shin Kang-hoo's direction. Shin Kang-hoo's body flashed back, and a small rabbit pounced. Swinging the long sword in his empty hand, the little rabbit was sliced in half just now. She then repeated the action a few times, and all the rabbits from just now were sliced in half and fell down. And for this commission, Shin Kang-hoo wants the reward of obtaining an underground city raid permit because he needs... Killed the boss here, plundered the other party's skills for personal use. This is when Shin Kang-hoo's back is against the wall. A boss with 2 swords appeared, his eyes fixed intensely on Shin Kang-hoo. Shin Kang. The tiger discovered a small boss in the underground city. The boss just happened to have. Shin Kang-hoo wanted to steal, but the boss suddenly rushed towards Shin Kang-hoo right away, and then used multiple. Shin Kang-hoo sees his doppelganger clone. This scene saw him frowning and stepping back consecutively as one of his clones held a knife and leaped in front of Shin Kang-hoo. The dagger came at the opponent's head. Shin Kang-hoo dodged using his instant movement skill. This attack was followed by both eyes turning blue. The heated thermal imaging clearly shows the difference between the main body and the clone. Then he took out a dagger and assumed an attacking stance, boss. His clone arrived right after. Shin Kang-hoo has never experienced this. He tightened his grip on both feet and exerted a sudden force towards the main body. The next second, Shin Kang-hoo's dagger had already pierced through the boss's body. Receiving this hit, the boss clearly showed some anger. As a 50th level boss, he was actually defeated by one. A level 10 player severely injured. The angry boss slid toward Shin Kang-hoo in front of him, and Shin Kang-hoo dodged again by taking advantage of his body's momentum. He knew he couldn't forcefully confront his boss head-on, and instead used the opportunity to approach his boss from behind. Kick the cripple's good leg hard from behind. The boss, forced to kneel due to uneven force, summoned a longsword from the system and then proceeded to. The hand held the longsword, and with a poof sound, it inserted into the boss's body right at its weak point. Kang-hoo lived up to his name as he gracefully drew out the longsword, and the boss followed by collapsing dead to the ground at that moment. A notification came congratulating you on successfully plundering the Phantom. Shin Kang-hoo gasped at the system prompt, as if the battle just ended. Spent a lot of energy in the place where it exploded, but an item appeared glowing instead. Turning to look at where it fell. When picking up the item, a beam of light also appeared in a building far away. Mong was observing Shin Kang-hoo from a distance through a telescope. Shin Kang-hoo also picked up an item that looked similar to aloe vera. 3 people in a distant building are discussing that thing Solra did just now. Zhixiang, that thing is really hard to buy, right? The red-haired leader explained that it indeed was very difficult to obtain, but the red-haired one was even more surprised. Surprised was how the man across knew the boss's weakness. Before he could react, the small henchwoman beside him spoke up, calling him Big Boss. I met you when I was at the trading market. He bought beef, dog head's blood, and anesthesia in the trading market, and as I expected, he did come to the underground city to kill monsters. His skills don't seem like those of a newbie. We haven't seen him around here recently. Little Miss Badass looked at Red Hair with a worshipful gaze instead. But with Big Brother's level, to defeat him is still as easy as turning over our palms. Don't bring him over. Let him know a bit about the wickedness of society. Hearing these words, Red Hair showed a look of, ugly face, don't rush him. Let him strut for a while first. He has exhausted his endurance. We'll finish him off after that. By now, Shin Kang-hoo has already leveled up. To obtain the next basic skill requires reaching level 20 from level 16. Shin Kang-hoo chewed on the aloe that fell earlier after leveling up. All of his attribute points were added to endurance. After all, as long as Shin Kang-hoo can control the hypersensitivity syndrome, he will have endless power supply. The aloe vera in Big Healthy Tiger's mouth is also a good thing. It can temporarily suppress hypersensitivity, but a thing is generally hard to find, and there's only one person who knows its cultivation method nationwide. This person is still a bit far from me. If I want to go there, I need to prepare enough funds and buy more. Then, Shin Kang-hoo continued towards the depths. The scene cuts to Lee Ina driving and making a hands-free phone call. Not far away, another car is following her. After Lee Ina discovered it, she didn't panic herself. However, an old driver with 3 decades of driving experience. Then, a segment showing impressive bike tricks was displayed, successfully leaving the person on the other end of the call asking Lee Ina to help him pick out some items. Mercenary Lee Ina quickly agreed, saying it's fine as long as the price is right. Everyone has a phone. The other end was the famous hero Zhang Shihuai that everyone worships. Na, who didn't understand the situation and had just hung up the phone. It was he who recommended Shen Kang-hoo to Zhang Shihuan. Little did he know that this would seal Shen's fate. Kang-hoo pushes another boss into the fire pit as his dagger pierces the boss's body at this moment. Internal boss. A powerful force suddenly erupted, and this force also pushed Shen Kang-hoo back. The boss saw the force emanating from himself. When he saw the dagger, he erupted in anger, and his hands turned into dark black claws, lunging at Shen Kang-hoo. Shen Kang-hoo looked at the claws in front of him, thinking about strategies to counter them, while recalling the boss's weaknesses. The other party seems to have tracking skills, and has already targeted Shen Kang-hoo's right leg. The next second, the sharp claws pierced through Tiger Shen Kang's body, and this body. The body was just a clone shadow being played with. Xiao Xie, enraged, picked up some broken stones and aimed at the opponent. Shen Kang-hoo kept jumping back and forth to taunt the boss. at the same time constantly observing the boss's weaknesses when the boss picked up a stone. Discovering that the opponent has a clear attack interval and stun state, you can use this gap to counter them. In an instant, a huge stone flew over. Seeing this, Shin Kang-hoo hastily dodged to the other side and then, busy applying the brakes, rolling towards what seemed like a place to avoid. A loud explosion shattered the giant stone into countless tiny fragments, which fell towards the ground, and in the midst of the fragments, heartfelt pressure made Shin Kang-hoo's subordinates' hands vanish in an instant as they disappeared. At this scene, the boss's heart leaped in surprise. Clearly, he had already hit him, but what? He suddenly vanished. At this moment, Shin Kang-hoo has already sneaked up to the boss's side. Then he summoned a longsword and stabbed towards the opponent's kidney area. Until the boss died, he never figured out how the other party dodged the attacks. System notification sounds played repeatedly. Respectfully, thank you for killing the boss. Your level has increased. Congratulations on successfully plundering this target skill. Congratulations on obtaining the bind. Projecting skills within a specific radius, you can summon a target in front of you and randomly heal it. The skill master suddenly saw a blue claw appear, and its target was precisely the boss's body where someone had just stabbed it. The dagger saw just now the sharp claws instantly elongate and grasp the ground. The dagger appeared in Shin Kang-hoo's next second. He secretly pondered what he could do with such a skill. Then Shin Kang-hoo thought of another use for this skill. If used properly, it should... This can still cancel the attack's after effect, so he started gesturing at the air while far away. Inside the building, 3 people were still watching Shin Kang-hoo's every move, and even somewhat admired him. The courage was even more shocking to the 3 of them, that he didn't use that thing. The West killed this boss. The little brat looked at the other party with some confusion and asked, "Is he playing with himself like a monkey?" Another man asked Redhair, "Do you want to go and kill him? He jumps around a bit too much, and I'm getting annoyed by it." Hearing that, the red-haired one turned and cursed at the 2 of them, not saying he would wait until he was tired. Will he strike again? The screen changed to show a man with a beard munching on dried meat. This very person is Jin Mo-xian, as Shin Kang-hoo entrusted in the mission. He is carefully looking at the letter in his hand, reading the contents within. The Dagai content is that Black Lion conditionally approved Jin Mo-xian's joining their organization. The condition is to reveal the secrets of the blue-eyed ones. Lee Iona's mercenary legion read the message, and Kim Moo-hyun only thought that this condition was still acceptable, as long as the information was conveyed. She could do it even without appearing herself. After all, Lee Ina wanted to. I've been cutting myself for more than just a couple of days now. Although my goal is to join the moon eclipse, the Black Lion isn't bad either. Choose, Jin Mo-hyun coldly smiled. Finally, his voice could return to Daito. Suddenly, Kimoto-sei's eyes narrowed, as if he had discovered something. At this time, Shin Kang-hoo has already found Jin Mo-xian's hiding place. You are the unfinished building in front of us. 4 was pondering where the other party was hiding. The position, seeing the scene, Kim Moo-hyun discovered another prey and knocked on the stone wall behind him. Come out already. The next second, several black giant wolves appeared beside Jin Mo-xian and said to the wolves, "Dinner time." They had arrived, but these fierce giant wolves were attracted by a scent. Shin Kang-hoo took out a piece of fatty meat that was delicious in taste and aroma. The next second, all the giant wolves in front turned into huskies and ran to the fatty meat, eating it greedily. Even Jin Mo-xian, as the master, had to admit with a whistle of admiration. It's as if he wronged them. But without any honor in martial arts, Shin Kang-hoo suddenly summoned a dagger and forcefully stabbed with one hand. Jin Mo-xian saw this and widened his eyes in some physical pain. He fiercely thrust into the giant wolf's body. Jin Mo-xian widened his eyes in shock, feeling a bit of physical pain as he showed that this was all about money, and curiously asked what had been added to the meat. Shin Kang-hoo disdainfully replied that it was their family's secret recipe, not to be shared with others. Then, he looked at Jin Mo-xian sharply, demanding that he hand over whatever didn't belong to him. Otherwise, his fate would be like the giant wolf just now. Jin Mo-xian silently cursed Lee Ina, this nasty woman who kept issuing warrants for him. He then instructed Shin Kang-hoo to catch him if possible, and rushed towards the half-finished building. Looking at the deep pit below, Jin Mo-xian coldly remarked that he hadn't expected this guy to be so well prepared, but had a poor mind. He fiercely thrust into the giant wolf's body. Jin Mo-xian widened his eyes in shock, feeling a bit of physical pain as he showed that this was all about money, and curiously asked what had been added to the meat. Shin Kang-hoo disdainfully replied that it was their family's secret recipe, not to be shared with others. Then, he looked at Jin Mo-xian sharply, demanding that he hand over whatever didn't belong to him. Otherwise, his fate would be like the giant wolf just now. Jin Mo-xian silently cursed Lee Ina, this nasty woman who kept issuing warrants for him. He then instructed Shin Kang-hoo to catch him if possible, and rushed towards the half-finished building. Looking at the deep pit below, Jin Mo-xian coldly remarked that he hadn't expected this guy to be so well prepared, but had a poor mind. He fiercely thrust into the giant wolf's body. Jin Mo-xian widened his eyes in shock, feeling a bit of physical pain as he showed that this was all about money, and curiously asked what had been added to the meat. Shin Kang-hoo disdainfully replied that it was their family's secret recipe, not to be shared with others. Then, he looked at Jin Mumian sharply, demanding that he hand over whatever didn't belong to him, otherwise, his fate would be like the giant wolf just now. Jin Mumian silently cursed Li Yina, this nasty woman who kept issuing warrants for him. He then instructed Sheng Konghu to catch him if possible, and rushed towards the half-finished building. Looking at the deep pit below, Jin Mumian coldly remarked that he hadn't expected this guy to be so well prepared, but had a poor mind. He fiercely thrust into the giant wolf's body. Jin Mumian widened his eyes in shock, feeling a bit of physical pain as he showed that this was all about money, and curiously asked what had been added to the meat. Sheng Konghu disdainfully replied that it was their family's secret recipe, not to be shared with others. Then, he looked at Jin Mumian sharply, demanding that he hand over whatever didn't belong to him, otherwise, his fate would be like the giant wolf just now. Jin Mumian silently cursed Li Yina, this nasty woman who kept issuing warrants for him. He then instructed Sheng Konghu to catch him if possible, and rushed towards the half-finished building. Looking at the deep pit below, Jin Mumian coldly remarked that he hadn't expected this guy to be so well prepared, but had a poor mind. He fiercely thrust into the giant wolf's body. Jin Mumian widened his eyes in shock, feeling a bit of physical pain as he showed that this was all about money, and curiously asked what had been added to the meat. Sheng Konghu disdainfully replied that it was their family's secret recipe, not to be shared with others. Then, he looked at Jin Mumian sharply, demanding that he hand over whatever didn't belong to him, otherwise, his fate would be like the giant wolf just now. Jin Mumian silently cursed Li Yina, this nasty woman who kept issuing warrants for him. He then instructed Sheng Konghu to catch him if possible, and rushed towards the half-finished building. Looking at the deep pit below, Jin Mumian coldly remarked that he hadn't expected this guy to be so well prepared, but had a poor mind. He fiercely thrust into the giant wolf's body. Jin Mumian widened his eyes in shock, feeling a bit of physical pain as he showed that this was all about money, and curiously asked what had been added to the meat. Sheng Konghu disdainfully replied that it was their family's secret recipe, not to be shared with others. Then, he looked at Jin Mumian sharply, demanding that he hand over whatever didn't belong to him, otherwise, his fate would be like the giant wolf just now. Jin Mumian silently cursed Li Yina, this nasty woman who kept issuing warrants for him. He then instructed Sheng Konghu to catch him if possible, and rushed towards the half-finished building. Looking at the deep pit below, Jin Mumian coldly remarked that he hadn't expected this guy to be so well prepared, but had a poor mind. He fiercely thrust into the giant wolf's body. Jin Mumian widened his eyes in shock, feeling a bit of physical pain as he showed that this was all about money, and curiously asked what had been added to the meat. Sheng Konghu disdainfully replied that it was their family's secret recipe, not to be shared with others. Then, he looked at Jin Mumian sharply, demanding that he hand over whatever didn't belong to him, otherwise, his fate would be like the giant wolf just now. Jin Mumian silently cursed Li Yina, this nasty woman who kept issuing warrants for him. He then instructed Sheng Konghu to catch him if possible, and rushed towards the half-finished building. Looking at the deep pit below, Jin Mumian coldly remarked that he hadn't expected this guy to be so well prepared, but had a poor mind. But a stickler wouldn't dare charge so brazenly into someone's den themselves. They had already hidden explosives near the demolition site. Sheng Konghu seems to have noticed something. What turned on the thermal imaging function? Only to see countless red dots densely clustered around the unfinished building, all belonging to Jin Mu. Xian hid explosives that Sheng Konghu discovered and kicked with great force without setting off. He rushed towards the higher parts of the dilapidated building where the medicine was, but Zhu Minxian let out a profane exclamation. How did he do that? Know where the explosives are buried. Seeing explosives unable to halt their opponent's advance, Jin Mumian hastily unleashed his own abilities, Sheng Konghu. Looking up, I found that the other party was also a constellation contract user. The name of their constellation is Chaos. The god of combat is an evil star. Seat represents the ability to temporarily confuse and blind an enemy for a short time. Jin Muxian raised his hands high and screamed, "Stinky kid! I, who am protected by a constellation, will let you taste the flavor of black magic." And with both hands swinging down, numerous dark purple magic balls appeared in front of Bodyguard Tiger. Coordinating with repeated side jumps and easily dodging these attacks right away, with a leap, he rushed towards Jin Muxian. Seeing this, Jin Muxian showed not the slightest hesitation. Yu turned to run, but Sheng Konghu pursued relentlessly from behind, simultaneously sinking in thought about the other party's strength. A dark magician of the warrior level shouldn't have just this much ability. He must be plotting something. Kim Mu-sin turned his head at this moment. Look at you this time. I wonder what you'll do next. Then in the next second, a dark force swept over him, Sheng Konghu. Looking surprised at the black mist in front of him, but he didn't stop there and continued on. Running towards the black mist, just as he touched it, he blocked himself with a dagger. His gaze avoided directly meeting the black fog. Seeing this, Jin Muxian's brows tightened. Why? He wondered if he knew how to avoid the black fog, and immediately thought of Li Yina. She definitely did too. That stinky woman told him, but little did she know that Sheng Konghu saw his horoscope. By then, I already knew how to avoid that ability. Sheng Konghu grinned and said, "You're very curious why I know. Do you question my abilities? Because all of that was created by me." Kim Min-hyun didn't understand what the other person meant. Instead, Sheng Konghu's kidnapping skills have already... After locking onto him, a blue claw suddenly grabbed Kim Young. Kim Young was once again confused. Why didn't I see the casting animation? As Shi Konghu pulled Jin Mumyan with force, and he appeared right in front of me. Konghu, who enjoys stabbing kidneys, stabs again. When Jin Muxian landed a strike on the opponent's kidney, suddenly an explosion occurred in front of him. Seeing this, Konghu could only pull back the distance. A large number of magic spheres attacked right behind him. And Shen Konghu took advantage of the surrounding terrain, leaping and dodging to provoke the snake's anger as it clenched its teeth, watching from above while squirming below. Master Shen Konghu shouted at him, "You are just a rat who knows nothing but running away afterwards. Start building up your magic, predicting where Song Hu will appear. Curse you, you damn rat." A bang sounded as Jin Muyan's attack was successful in hitting the target. Shen was hit by it. Konghu slowly descended with his strike. Before Jin Muyan could even rejoice, he realized that before him were nothing but duplicates of Konghu. "Tell him to stop hitting outside. Shen Konghu is everywhere," filled with anger. Dong Hunde, intoxicated by magic, continued to release it. Only Shen Konghu and his clone chose not to dodge. And one by one they fled, as most of Jin Muxian's clones were dispersed. That familiar feeling appeared again in an instant. Shen Konghu appeared behind Jin Moshi again, and stabbed him in the kidney with a dagger. Jin Muxian grinned and cursed. "Why do you have to be so old and always want me to turn Tong Tong's left side? Isn't it bad?" When Jin Muxian pulled out the dagger, he pitifully held his waist and crawled forward with all his might, weakly looking at Xineng. "The tiger said you damn guy actually used a clone to deceive me." Shen Konghu sneered and, "You seem to have fallen for it more than once." Suddenly, the system prompt interrupted Shen Konghu, a mysterious figure appearing. His constellation sent a message to Shen Konghu. "I am very satisfied with your strategy just now. This is my gift. As your reward, I am a constellation." The reward dug up by its master turned out to be so meager. Just help Shen Konghu increase his experience by 1/10 of 1 point. Shen Konghu doubts if his written constellation is really this picky. At this moment, the dimensional robber also sent mocking information. Seeing their impoverished appearance, I feel somewhat embarrassed, even more so for losing face. Let alone embarrassing me, Wen Yan's bodies Shen Konghu, and says, "Then let you give me some rewards instead." The latter quickly shows that you can't pluck my wool, you should still hurry to plunder the prey in front of you. Following this, Shen Konghu slowly walks towards Jin Muxian. One blade directly inserts into his calf. Jin Muxian yells in pain, with a look at Shen Konghu. "You devil, why are you treating me like this? Do you think you caught? Can I change anything? Better just let go. I can give you something you didn't expect." Shen Konghu didn't respond. Instead, they stared intently as their opponent produced a 40-meter-long greatsword. If capturing a waste like you could change the world, then I wouldn't be here in the first place. Then it immediately sliced across Jin Moxian's face. System notification transmitted. "Come to congratulate you on successfully stealing the target constellation skill." Shen Konghu checked it out. The skill list also appeared with Kim Mo-young's constellation ability, Fog and Chaos. "Zhuang before me, Feng Konghu. How difficult it is for me to really strip his clothes off." He reluctantly pulled back the other person's clothes and flipped through them for a long time before finally finding what he needed to bring. The broken shoes of those who went back found quite a few good things on Jin Moxian's corpse, including a glove with magical ropes. You can use magical force to bind it to the dagger, throw in a piece of intermediate armor, an endurance-increasing ring, and several spirit-vexing talismans. Using it will enter an awakening state and reduce the skill's cooldown. But by the time Shen Konghu finished, he had already advanced to level 19, just one step away from level 20. After cleaning up the battlefield, Shen Konghu also walked out of the unfinished building, thinking he needed to hurry and level up to 20. It was only at level 20 that his transformation would begin. By this time, Shen Konghu had walked for a while and didn't find any signs of wild monsters. Shouldn't this place be a rabbit warren? Why haven't I seen the 3 people far away using binoculars to continue staring at young Miss Huan's happy expression? "Wearing the red hair," said our boss, "looks like he just went through a battle. Can we move?" The moment he touched the red-haired one, he showed an excited expression. The green-haired one, who just finished farming, looked towards the two, and the red-haired one gave him a glance. The other party instantly understood Red-Hair's intent and threw the sack into the air. Many rabbits ran out. Shen Konghu came out, and these rabbit eyes turned red as if they smelled fresh meat. The taste of blood, only seeing Shen Konghu's entire body covered in battle scars. The bloodstains seemed to have driven the rabbit mad, and it rushed towards Shen Konghu. Shen Konghu smiled as he looked at the rabbit. "You guys finally came, and I've been waiting for a long time." With one move, 4 shakes, all the rabbits that rushed at me were split in half and then killed several rabbits, and the system prompt also came with, "Congrats, you have upgraded to level 20. Congratulations on obtaining Skill Acceleration Assassination. Due to your constellation's ability, this skill has upgraded. Bloodletting Assassination. Each attack can stack damage up to a maximum of 10 layers of bleeding." Seeing the skill introduction, Shen Konghu couldn't help letting out a heartwarming smile. While Shen Konghu was checking the skill introduction, the red-haired man swung his greatsword at Shen Konghu, producing a huge sound in response. The red-haired appearance was a strike by Dalichen, but it turned out to be a dud. Shen Konghu had been spacing out. Subconsciously dodged the attack as the intent to kill emerged. Oh, Shen Konghu stared at the other guy, wondering who he was. Could he be here to kill me? The red-haired man looked at the other with a murderous gaze and said, "Your reaction is quite interesting." Pretty quick, but that's it for now. The red-haired one attacked with incredible speed in the next second, holding on to something. The great sword swings horizontally towards Shen Kong's position, and Shen Kong, the tiger, merely lowered its body, red fur expressing disbelief on its face. Seeing the other party, he didn't expect this guy's speed to be so fast, followed by a pfft sound. Shin Kang-hu initiated the bloody assassination, disdainfully looking at Shin Kang-hu. Just a few injuries. Does it matter? Is there any difference from me giving you a tickle? Before he could finish speaking, Red Hair's greatsword appeared in front of Shin Kang-hu. Shin Kang-hu, while the tiger was dodging, it also learned that the opponent was a professional warrior. Despite the power difference, he has an absolute advantage, but to me, he's full of vulnerabilities. Shin Kang-hu grabs. The red-haired one said with a playful expression, Your attack is too weak, just scratching him like an itch. Body Kang-hu has already developed immunity to verbal attacks. He's plotting something else instead. Stab him a few times. His kidney suddenly leaped up and lunged towards the red-haired person, arriving in front of the red-haired person when, activating the black mist skill, a black fog swept over immediately followed by the red-haired person. Blinded by the black mist, Shin Kang-hu seized the opportunity to activate the bleeding assassination skill on Red Hair's body, leaving his eyesight lost. His red-haired opponent could only subconsciously swing his large sword, but Shin Kang-hu dodged the attack with agile movements. His body continued to stack skill buffs. Red Hair's eyes gradually returned to normal as he turned his head to look at Shin Kang-hu. Have your little tricks run their course yet? The sentence wasn't finished when a sense of powerlessness appeared on Red Hair's body as he supported his forehead, trying to stabilize his shaking frame. His face showed disbelief as if all his strength had been drained away by just some wounds. Unbelieving in heresies, Red-haired roared as a berserker's self. How could I possibly be defeated by this? A minor injury defeats before the words are even finished, and with it, Shang Hu's kidnapping skills appear, showing a blue, sharp claw. Claws already gripped Red Hair's body. A series of coughs sounded. The tiger stabbed the opponent's heart with a dagger and said with murderous intent, Just blame yourself for being too foolish. Even a rage warrior is human. Can't you see that? She had shed so much blood that she then threw Red Hair's body on the ground, while the two hiding in the dark saw this scene. All his hair stood on end as he frantically fled the scene. Upon discovering the two individuals, Shin Kang-hu froze. There was a chase as he chewed on aloe vera by himself. At this moment, the constellation symbol on his red-haired head also disappeared. Congratulations, you have obtained. How does the taste of that target constellation's blood sound? Then he looked up at the sky. Shouldn't you reward me for such a performance? A message then appeared. You are truly a crazy guy. Even my wool you dare to pluck. Shin Kang-hu was still joking with the constellation when the system prompted, Congratulations on successfully plundering the deceased's ability. The more endurance lost, the higher the probability of immunity to mental attribute attacks. Immediately after, Shin Kang-hu began cleaning up the battlefield. A bracelet that resists magical damage, a pair of shoes that increase movement speed, and a pair of hands with no significant use. He looked at the system prompt and, blood. How does it taste? Then he raised his head to look at the sky. Shouldn't you reward me for such a performance? A message then appeared. You are truly a crazy guy. Even my wool you dare to pluck. Shin Kang-hu was still joking with the constellation when the system prompted, Congratulations on successfully plundering the deceased's ability. The more endurance lost, the higher the probability of immunity to mental attribute attacks. Immediately after, Shin Kang-hu began cleaning up the battlefield. A bracelet that resists magical damage, a pair of shoes that increase movement speed, and a pair of hands with no significant use. He, at the system prompt, blood. How does it taste? Then he raised his head to look at the sky. Shouldn't you reward me for such a performance? A message then appeared. You are truly a crazy guy. Even my wool you dare to pluck. Shin Kang-hu was still joking with the constellation when the system prompted, Congratulations on successfully plundering the deceased's ability. The more endurance lost, the higher the probability of immunity to mental attribute attacks. Immediately after, Shin Kang-hu began cleaning up the battlefield. A bracelet that resists magical damage, a pair of shoes that increase movement speed, and a pair of hands with no significant use. He chuckled at the system prompt. Blood. How does it taste? Then he raised his head to look at the sky. Shouldn't you reward me for such a performance? A message then appeared. You are truly a crazy guy. Even my wool you dare to pluck. Shin Kang-hu was still joking with the constellation when the system prompted, Congratulations on successfully plundering the deceased's ability. The more endurance lost, the higher the probability of immunity to mental attribute attacks. Immediately after, Shin Kang-hu began cleaning up the battlefield. A bracelet that resists magical damage, a pair of shoes that increase movement speed, and a pair of hands with no significant use. He chuckled at the system prompt. Blood. How does it taste? Then he raised his head to look at the sky. Shouldn't you reward me for such a performance? A message then appeared. You are truly a crazy guy. Even my wool you dare to pluck. Shin Kang-hu was still joking with the constellation when the system prompted, Congratulations on successfully plundering the deceased's ability. The more endurance lost, the higher the probability of immunity to mental attribute attacks. Immediately after, Shin Kang-hu began cleaning up the battlefield. A bracelet that resists magical damage, a pair of shoes that increase movement speed, and a pair of hands with no significant use. He chuckled at the system prompt. Blood. How does it taste? Then he raised his head to look at the sky. Shouldn't you reward me for such a performance? A message then appeared. You are truly a crazy guy. Even my wool you dare to pluck. Shin Kang-hu was still joking with the constellation when the system prompted, Congratulations on successfully plundering the deceased's ability. The more endurance lost, the higher the probability of immunity to mental attribute attacks. Immediately after, Shin Kang-hu began cleaning up the battlefield. A bracelet that resists magical damage, a pair of shoes that increase movement speed, and a pair of hands with no significant use. He chuckled at the system prompt. Blood. How does it taste? Then he raised his head to look at the sky. Shouldn't you reward me for such a performance? A message then appeared. You are truly a crazy guy. Even my wool you dare to pluck. Shin Kang-hu was still joking with the constellation when the system prompted, Congratulations on successfully plundering the deceased's ability. The more endurance lost, the higher the probability of immunity to mental attribute attacks. Immediately after, Shin Kang-hu began cleaning up the battlefield. A bracelet that resists magical damage, a pair of shoes that increase movement speed, and a pair of hands with no significant use. He chuckled at the system prompt. Blood. How does it taste? Then he raised his head to look at the sky. Shouldn't you reward me for such a performance? A message then appeared. You are truly a crazy guy. Even my wool you dare to pluck. Shin Kang-hu was still joking with the constellation when the system prompted, Congratulations on successfully plundering the deceased's ability. The more endurance lost, the higher the probability of immunity to mental attribute attacks. Immediately after, Shin Kang-hu began cleaning up the battlefield. A bracelet that resists magical damage, a pair of shoes that increase movement speed, and a pair of hands with no significant use. After cleaning up the battlefield, Shin Kang-hu prepared to go back and report the task. At this moment, in a certain building in Diantian City, Li Yina held the task item and smiled, saying, She didn't expect you to complete the mission so quickly. Still, it's congratulations for making it back alive after all. The first mission was tough. Few managed to survive. Isn't a death rate this high? Shin Kang-hu's eyes widened in response. After all of this guy's tasks are... It's a bit difficult, but I'll give you Middleburg's dungeon guide later. Meanwhile, here's a newspaper for you. The materials inside you can check first. Take a look at the underground dungeon of Middleware located on the hills of Storm Peak Dragon's Peak, where there are 4 small bosses and 1 big boss. Shin Kang-hu sneered and muttered, I can steal again. Gained 5 new skills, smiled and asked Li Yina to help schedule some exploration time while doing so. All useless equipment was thrown out recklessly. Let Li Yina help me sell these equipment. The latter was also involuntarily startled upon seeing these equipment, not expecting Jin Muxian to have such things. Li Yina said she would pay for all these good things later, and then took out 3 mission files to give them. Shin Kang-hu chose inside there. Shin Kang-hu pointed at the middle document and indicated that he would take it. This time, the task was commissioned by a person named Xu Zhengtai from the National Security Bureau. Arrest for official duty theft and assault crimes. The reward for success is 300 million won and 1 month of a fuben below level 100, but it's hard to find him. Otherwise, the National Security Agency wouldn't have provided it. Such a high reward. The only clue was that someone saw him appear at Yangping Station, after which he never showed up again. Shin Kang-hu nonchalantly nodded and accepted, indicating he has a way to find him. The scene then switches to Shin Kang-hu arriving. Got 2.5 billion won from selling gear in a place full of small pink lanterns. How much more can't we do well? Spray a bit and then dialed the phone. After the other party answered, an elderly voice came through. May I ask if this is... What do I need 10 aloe vera for? Please send it to me. Longshan Station's person said that there's no problem with this person being able to cultivate aloe vera on their own. After Hong Tang-hu hung up the phone, he looked up and saw Xiao Fengdong leave. There was still some time in the underground city, so he might as well go play for a while. Look, there are also some intel being gathered in the bar. A scrawny-looking person was chopped with 1 slash, and the man in front of him. The others in the bar were still watching. He screamed and shouted to bet again, but Shin Kang-hu ignored the crowd's commotion. The drunk walked straight to the bar counter and slapped his hand down, pulling out a few Korean won bills to ask the bartender for a special drink. To find a cute double-tailed girl to show that Body Kang-hu has good taste, and then look away. Some shyly asked Kang-hu to wait while she did something herself. Show yourself well. After all, there aren't many dirt bosses these days. Sure, Kang-hu is thinking about the wine. The people involved in the bar mixing event generally can grasp some useful information. Then he began to observe the bar's environment, but in the next second, Shin Kang-hu's eyes suddenly narrowed. A woman was found in a certain part of the bar, and someone found it curious why. So this woman appearing here is someone from the USC organization named Hunter Dog. Could Karchao Shi have already been discovered by the Jadestone organization? At this moment, the girl bartender has already handed over the drink with a shy expression, indicating that it's her first time. Encountering such a handsome person like Bodyguard Tiger at a bar is just luck. Shouldn't you also not be able to meet Shin Kang-hu at the bar? He asked with some doubt. Could it be that... Have you never seen a handsome person? The latter looked at the former with disdain as he leaned his head close to the other's face and whispered, Because I heard. Upon hearing that a group called Moonstone was said to be taking over this bar, Shin Kang-hu stared at the drink in his hand. They're thinking quickly in their heads. Do they want to screen out suitable hunters here? So they brought them to the mine cave. Is this why Cho Jiaoshi is here? It seems like this. I have some trouble to take care of, so I need to leave first. The general drained the drink in his hand and looked at the bartender. Master expressed gratitude as a sudden, unusual sound caught Shin Kang-hu's attention. Attention couldn't help but curse silently. Before I could even finish causing trouble for myself, it found me out. Only a few people in lunar stone uniforms walked in. Others who saw this scene seemed a bit afraid, and a man looked at the other in terror and asked why are they here in the middle of the night? Here, the girl with twin ponytails saw and quickly left. The man in front turned to someone beside him and said they must keep it small. Heart, some of these are all precious goods. The moment the words fell, many people from the Moonstone organization rushed forward and immediately beat the man to the point where he was spitting out bitter water. However, a member of the Moonstone organization noticed Kong Hu and grumbled, saying, "You brat, what are you standing there dazed for? Are you trying to die?" He then raised an axe and swung it towards Shin Kong Hu. However, Shin Kong Hu dodged using his body, and the axe instead sliced at his teammate. The teammate hadn't even had time to warn him before he was already dead. Behind the man, Shin Kong Hu took a single swing with his blade, taking the life of the man. Cai Shi from the Moonstone organization suddenly charged towards Shin Kong Hu's position, swiftly drawing out a dagger and swinging it at him. On the first meeting, they immediately beat the man until he was spitting bitter water. However, one member of the Moonstone organization noticed Kong Hu and grumbled, saying, "You brat, what are you standing there dazed for? Are you trying to die?" He then raised an axe and swung it towards Shin Kong Hu. However, Shin Kong Hu dodged using his body, and the axe instead sliced at his teammate. The teammate hadn't even had time to warn him before he was already dead. Behind the man, Shin Kong Hu took a single swing with his blade, taking the life of the man. Cai Shi from the Moonstone organization suddenly charged towards Shin Kong Hu's position, swiftly drawing out a dagger and swinging it at him. In one go, they immediately beat the man until he was spitting bitter water. However, one member of the Moonstone organization noticed Kong Hu and grumbled, saying, "You brat, what are you standing there dazed for? Are you trying to die?" He then raised an axe and swung it towards Shin Kong Hu. However, Shin Kong Hu dodged using his body, and the axe instead sliced at his teammate. The teammate hadn't even had time to warn him before he was already dead. Behind the man, Shin Kong Hu took a single swing with his blade, taking the life of the man. Cai Shi from the Moonstone organization suddenly charged towards Shin Kong Hu's position, swiftly drawing out a dagger and swinging it at him. In one go, they immediately beat the man until he was spitting bitter water. However, one member of the Moonstone organization noticed Kong Hu and grumbled, saying, "You brat, what are you standing there dazed for? Are you trying to die?" He then raised an axe and swung it towards Shin Kong Hu. However, Shin Kong Hu dodged using his body, and the axe instead sliced at his teammate. The teammate hadn't even had time to warn him before he was already dead. Behind the man, Shin Kong Hu took a single swing with his blade, taking the life of the man. Cai Shi from the Moonstone organization suddenly charged towards Shin Kong Hu's position, swiftly drawing out a dagger and swinging it at him. In one go, they immediately beat the man until he was spitting bitter water. However, one member of the Moonstone organization noticed Kong Hu and grumbled, saying, "You brat, what are you standing there dazed for? Are you trying to die?" He then raised an axe and swung it towards Shin Kong Hu. However, Shin Kong Hu dodged using his body, and the axe instead sliced at his teammate. The teammate hadn't even had time to warn him before he was already dead. Behind the man, Shin Kong Hu took a single swing with his blade, taking the life of the man. Cai Shi from the Moonstone organization suddenly charged towards Shin Kong Hu's position, swiftly drawing out a dagger and swinging it at him. In one go, they immediately beat the man until he was spitting bitter water. However, one member of the Moonstone organization noticed Kong Hu and grumbled, saying, "You brat, what are you standing there dazed for? Are you trying to die?" He then raised an axe and swung it towards Shin Kong Hu. However, Shin Kong Hu dodged using his body, and the axe instead sliced at his teammate. The teammate hadn't even had time to warn him before he was already dead. Behind the man, Shin Kong Hu took a single swing with his blade, taking the life of the man. Cai Shi from the Moonstone organization suddenly charged towards Shin Kong Hu's position, swiftly drawing out a dagger and swinging it at him. In one go, they immediately beat the man until he was spitting bitter water. However, one member of the Moonstone organization noticed Kong Hu and grumbled, saying, "You brat, what are you standing there dazed for? Are you trying to die?" He then raised an axe and swung it towards Shin Kong Hu. However, Shin Kong Hu dodged using his body, and the axe instead sliced at his teammate. The teammate hadn't even had time to warn him before he was already dead. Behind the man, Shin Kong Hu took a single swing with his blade, taking the life of the man. Cai Shi from the Moonstone organization suddenly charged towards Shin Kong Hu's position, swiftly drawing out a dagger and swinging it at him. In one go, they immediately beat the man until he was spitting bitter water. However, one member of the Moonstone organization noticed Kong Hu and grumbled, saying, "You brat, what are you standing there dazed for? Are you trying to die?" He then raised an axe and swung it towards Shin Kong Hu. However, Shin Kong Hu dodged using his body, and the axe instead sliced at his teammate. The teammate hadn't even had time to warn him before he was already dead. Behind the man, Shin Kong Hu took a single swing with his blade, taking the life of the man. Cai Shi from the Moonstone organization suddenly charged towards Shin Kong Hu's position, swiftly drawing out a dagger and swinging it at him. Kong Hu's direction was swung away. Shin Kong Hu's heart trembled as he realized the distance between him and his opponent might make it difficult to avoid this attack. Strangely, the dagger only sliced over his head and pierced the enemy behind him. The man saw Cao Jiaxi's figure just as he wanted to say something, what was then taken away cleanly and decisively by the opponent. Before dying, he still revealed why he had done it. This is how Shin Kong Hu also discovered something amiss, but he didn't know what the other party's purpose was. "I had never seen you before." But your skills intrigued me. Which union do you belong to? I don't know. Likes being bound, so I belong to none. How would a labor union be good for that? Now let's talk about business. We should figure out how to escape from these guys' hands. The little helpers of the Lunar Eclipse Organization were surprised why their investigator would attack them. Could it be that the plan has changed? Could you tell Chao Shi that he couldn't say it clearly? Could give them a glance so they can understand and grasp the hint, little Luo Luo. We all rushed over, and Shin Kong Hu also noticed everything. It seems that the main purpose was, want to test my strength? Since it's like this, I'll play along with you until the end. Then I'll throw the dagger in front of me. His enemies were effortlessly dodging their opponent's attacks and then used the gloves they had obtained previously to... She retrieved the weapon that was about to be thrown and slashed the enemy's arm with one stroke. Chen Zhaoshi also noticed this scene and couldn't help but exclaim, "This is heart-wrenching." Does it involve spirit manipulation? I didn't expect this guy to have this trick, Shin Kong Hu. Let Xiao Zhaoshi go to the safety exit with you, but Xiao Zhaoshi hasn't reacted yet. Coming in, he saw that Shin Kong Hu had already turned and ran. There was nothing else they could do but signal. Little Roros follow closely and look at you. You should be an assassin, but why are you using... Magic Niku looked down at his gloves, and indeed, these gloves had a special property. Similar to magic, it's up to you how you think about it. I have no reason to tell you. When the two of them reached the safe exit, several little noisy ones had been waiting for a long time. The little noisies are waving their own weapons. Shin Kong Hu easily dodged and then turned around, slicing the dagger into the other person's throat at the same time. A constellation also gave Shin Kong Hu some help upon seeing the message Shin Kong Hu. Haha, snorted a laugh. Is justice really that much? Funny those two words, so hollow and elusive, really exist in this world. Who cares though? Justice is like children playing house. It's all just a game. After dealing with the enemy, Shin Kong Hu kicked open the door in front of him and made a gesture towards Che Jiawei's direction to indicate. He went this way, avoiding Xiao Luoluomen's pursuit. At this moment, Che Jiaoshi finally said his purpose. Do you want to join an organization even more self-disciplined than the Union? The work he does elsewhere earns him no less compensation than other places if you're interested. You can at any time. Contacting Shin Kong Hu, he hesitated not at all as he took that business card with the Moonstone Organization logo on it, indicating that he still has... Things need to be handled. He will contact us when he is done. Chu Jiaoshi watched as the other party walked away and said to... The earphone said that, Master, you have assigned all the tasks to me. Completed at the same time, over the phone, Long Jiaosu was instructed to investigate a person in an institution called Qingming Shelter. Find a man named Shin Kong Hu in the local area. The scene then switches to Shin Kong Hu just getting off the high-speed train. Judging by West Train's reaction, they haven't yet issued a wanted notice for me, but just in case. Still, leaving the Da Tianrishu organization is kind of annoying him. They've been watching the trains heading to Jiaping lately. It looks like I'll have to take a detour. At this moment, Shin Kong Hu arrived at the place where people store their packages at Long Mountain Station. And the aloe vera in his hand is the batch I ordered before. I didn't expect the other party's speed to be so fast, taking away the package. After just stepping out, I was drawn to a man's voice. This is already the best part-time job, you just have to do it well. Acting can go to Seoul's underground city, and after finding Shin Kong Hu, he just stared at him. Shin Kong Hu was somewhat speechless and saw a man. People turn around and walk towards the entrance of the underground city, which is cleverly monopolized by the Seoul Purification Union, their excuse. It was then that protecting the safety of the people became the only place where the National Security Agency conducted its work. Because they have control over a large trading market where everything is expensive. It's scary, but everything here is complete. Even though the prices are a bit higher, there are still many people. He picked up one of the weapons in front of Shin Kong Hu. This dagger is much better than the one he's using now. Then Shin Kong Hu took out a stone from the storage space to try if it would enhance his weapon. After using the power, he suddenly exerted force with one hand. The stone was easily crushed into pieces. Shin Kong Hu looked happily at the shattered stones in his hand. This weapon gave him a lot of strength. Due to the points from before being added to his endurance, his strength attribute is a bit weak for this weapon. Another feature is that endurance can quickly recover 30 minutes after leaving combat. This is why Shin Kong Hu chose this weapon. He doesn't lack magical power, he just needs to ensure his own endurance. The scene changes, and Shin Kong Hu has already bought the weapon. In front is a family of 3 attracting attention. His attention was drawn when the child's father indicated that everything here is... Safety is ensured here by the Cleanup Union and the National Security Agency. Shen Kong heard these words. Tiger muttered a curse under his breath, suddenly hearing a voice behind him. Only to see bandits kidnap that child! The father pleaded desperately. Just give me my child back, you can have anything you want! He said with a playful expression. You're begging for someone to do something for you. Shouldn't things be more sincere? Shen Kong Hu also didn't expect this in the capital. You actually have the nerve to rob someone in broad daylight? Just as I was about to intervene, I see a man walk out and say you just let... For that child, I think I can manage. Accommodate any of your demands, and here is Chen Guanhong from the Purification Union. Shen Kong Hu was somewhat surprised. I didn't expect to run into this guy here. He's not just... Why did a person who would take risks end up here? Only to see the man casually toss a black card at the robber. Taking the black card was puzzling, and I didn't understand what the other party meant. You only release the child. Hearing that, the robber immediately put down the child and pushed him towards the man before running away. However, the man disappeared in an instant, leaving Kang Hu somewhat shocked by the man's strength. Worthily of someone who possesses a spatial constellation, the man suddenly appeared in front of the robbers at once. Using spatial abilities to envelop the robbers within it, the robbers showed some curiosity and approached to examine this barrier. Without giving the other party any reaction time, the man drew his knife and charged towards them, slicing the robber in half horizontally. A better bandit with strength, he managed to dodge this strike, but his mask was also torn, revealing his true face. Bing Kang Hu noticed this. The expression on his face reminded him that it was the robber who had just called. The robber looked terrified at the corpse in front of him. Why did you kill him? Didn't we agree on that? Do we have to act again? I've already done what you said. Please let me live. This barrier can block sound, so the onlookers are a bit curious about what the people inside said. What bandit saw the man's expression, knew he couldn't live to leave, and immediately prepared to die with the other party. The blade hadn't even had time to draw out their weapons, when the man already drew his sword and severed the bandit's head. Then, showed that trademark smile after congening the barrier, and then said to the onlookers, "Now calm down. Everyone can rest assured now." Seeing this, Tiger sighed and confirmed his guess was right. All of this is a self-directed performance trick, using some actors to boost the reputation of the union while creating a monopoly. The excuse to cut off your rights, enjoy what you have properly. A short amount of time, but at the same time, Che Jiaoxi was investigating Shen Kanghu's background. What Che Jiaoxi didn't expect was the one wanted by the union. It seems that Shen Kanghu is the same person as the one the painting and the master need to investigate. Qing needs to become more interesting. Shen Kanghu came to the entrance of the underground city and handed over the license to the guard. Both nodded to indicate everything was fine, but the guards noticed that Shen Kanghu was only level 20. Kindly reminded him that this place is very dangerous. Are you sure there's no problem? Shen Kanghu, if he wants to seize opportunities from those people, the most important thing for him is upgrade. Otherwise not only will he miss out on opportunities, but he will also be wanted by the authorities. His lowest goal for himself is to reach level 50 first, so that he also has to endure this painful scene as he quickly levels up. Scene shift. Shen Kanghu arrived at a valley where the wind and sand were so strong they made it hard to open his eyes. If you're not careful here, it's easy to get lost. Fortunately, I had already marked the way. Suddenly, Shen Kanghu felt as if his feet were empty, and he saw a huge crack appear beneath him. If you take another step, you will fall into an abyss with no bottom. Into the abyss? But why would someone cut through this path? Suddenly, there's a strange noise from behind. Turning around to look. Behind you, countless blood-red eyes appeared, and one by one, golden-colored lizards emerged. Then Shen Kanghu threw his weapon, and as he expected, these lizards appeared in groups. In an instant, all the monsters surged towards Shen Kang like tigers. At the same time, Che Jiawei was still investigating the information about Shen Kanghu in front of him. The man was reporting to him. Although we tried to simulate that he is like, how did he escape our pursuit? But it seems he tricked our people with his magic. I guess he must have been lucky. I suppose they were just pursuing him. A person is a level 100 hunter, but the most unreasonable. Was how he succeeded in the subsequent attack at that time. He seems to be only level 10. This is impossible for a newbie. Che Jiaoshi didn't say anything, just stared at Shen Kang. The hexagram drawn by the tiger actually belongs to me. Just a few days ago, I saw that person and guessed they are at least level 100. Is this how you investigate information? You don't even have his basic info? There's an investigation clear that Shen Kanghu has already taken out his weapon and aimed at the lizard person in front of him. The properties of the glove allowed me to throw the weapon out, hitting the most tender part of the lizard's body. Despite hitting his weakness, he only got a minor injury. It looks like we need to take care of them all. It will take some time to draw my weapon and turn towards them. The monsters in front were swept away, but some escaped and were discovered by Shen Kanghu, who slashed them twice, cutting them down. The monster fell to the ground in pain, rolling around everywhere. Shen Kanghu knew that with this injury, they won't die, let them get up instead. Continuing to be unable to tolerate insults, Shi Yi again headed towards the other party. While hunting monsters, some things must definitely be noted, such as the damage caused to monsters. If you deal damage to a monster and it dies from other causes, the system will determine that this monster does not belong to you. But you only need to cause a little damage. Harm them, and you can use other ways to solve it when you find the monster's hatred is directed at you. There's the slightest hesitation and they turn to run, leading the lizard to the cliff edge, then they jumped across using a short distance leap themselves. The monster behind me can only fall freely, but even with a strong outer shell, it cannot defy inertia. The impact lizard fell and died immediately. At the same time, the hunting lizard prompt appeared subsequently. More lizards kept falling dead. The system prompt messages surrounded Shen Kanghu. Not long after, Kanghu promoted to level 27 this time. Right now, Zhao Weiche has also arrived at the location of the hexagram symbol. He is a bit curious about what East Kanghu transformed into. Why did he use his own blood for a ritual? Is this a ritual to summon a constellation? Is that what you're still investigating? Che Jiaoshi hurriedly replied, yes. The master's that escaped criminal doesn't seem like an ordinary person, so I request you send another person over because of the situation. I couldn't help but blurt out what I shouldn't have said for a while. Killed without knowing how much time had passed, Shin Kang-hu had already solved all the lizards around him. Looking at the crystal that fell from the monster, he couldn't help but think of his days as a black worker, Che Zhao. She should already know that I am one of them. I'm chasing a fugitive, but how likely is it that I would be easily caught? At this moment, a fireman appeared behind Shin Kang-hu. The person on fire stumbled towards the opposite side. Kang-hu, however, revealed an expected smile. Looks like my first skill finally appeared after not long. Those who provoke fire will die in a pool of water. The system transmitted a reminder with respect. I like your successful plundering of the fire element. You can upgrade this skill based on your constellation's abilities and infuse all weapons with fire elements. I wonder when a person appeared behind Shin Kang-hu and was secretly observing him. His boss never expected that he could actually. Using this method to solve his problem is simply too elegant. He just scratched your boss's body and attracted hatred. He turned and ran without any hesitation, reaching the lakeside on horseback. When he used his clone skill to deceive his boss, he was just like that. He tricked them into the lake. His plan was flawless. It doesn't seem like something a low-rank person could pull off. His performance does indeed make the boss find him interesting. The boss is doing this for his safety. Even sent me to protect him from behind while he's in danger. When I'm supposed to lend a hand, I'm also supposed to forget to tell him about the benefits of teamwork. If we help him grow quickly, he will definitely become our best helper. Looks like I can only obediently. His weapon swiftly attacked towards a certain spot right behind him just then, but the moment the weapon touched the defense shield, it was repelled. His target, however, were the three bosses in front of him and their abilities. It can produce a defensive shield, but their defense. The cover also has a downside. It only works at its best when used together. Otherwise, as soon as the three of them are alone, different flaws will appear. The best way to solve them is to take them down one by one and see these few families. This made him think of Li Yina's words. Li Yina wanted Shin Kang-hu to join their team because she thought he was good at attacking. Building a slightly underground city isn't something one person can complete alone. Shin Kang-hu instead revealed a meaningful smile and did something else simultaneously. Shin Kang-hu made a short jump and arrived in front of the boss. He wanted to use speed. He went to test the strength of the opponent's side shield, but didn't expect the boss of response was quick. Shin Kang-hu's plan this time failed completely, and without hesitation, he immediately turned around. Then used a skill to arrive at the other side of the boss. At the same time, thick black fog suddenly appeared all around them, and the three subconsciously looked around. In an instant, a black mist appeared and simultaneously blinded the eyes of all three to maintain distance. Li Shenge stepped back to control the attack distance before used kidnapping skills to attack the first person. The boss hadn't even figured out what was happening when he heard that the other party had already appeared in front of him, just as he had set up his defensive stance. Shin Kang-hu didn't follow the rules and directly crawled under his boss's feet before attacking the boss behind him. This is why Shin Kang-hu doesn't want to join the team. When he can't take care of himself, so you can only rely on others, and this is the consequence of relying on others. But the two bosses were missing the person in front of them, and their defensive barriers also showed vulnerabilities right after that. And was instantly solved by Shin Kang-hu with one slash. At the same time, the last boss rushed towards Shin Kang-hu. Kang-hu watched the approaching boss and didn't move. He was waiting for an appropriate GG opportunity. The boss was just about to make a move to deal with him, but found that the figure in front had vanished and appeared behind him instead. Boss quickly caught on. Swinging his fist towards the direction behind him, Boss only realized that the figure in front of him was gone when his fist landed. It's a wish that the real Shin Kang-hu is here right now. Right beside him, he immediately stabbed the weapon into the other's body. Even as his boss was dying, he couldn't figure out why. What does this guy know about their three flaws? As the boss fell down, the system also reminded me respectfully. You've leveled up to level 29 and successfully plundered 3 barrier skills in front, side, and back. Skills come together when they are used side by side. The defensive barrier will continue to engage until endurance is exhausted. Shin Kang-hu chewed on the aloe vera, lost in thought. Thinking intently at the skill introduction in front of him, the man far away couldn't help but silently curse him for these series of actions. More powerful than I imagined. He indeed doesn't need a team because he can do it alone. A person is a team. Shin Kang-hu continued to delve in and didn't take long before he encountered the final boss. And this boss, who laughs with a big grin after getting a tooth pierced. That's the purpose of Shin Kang-hu's visit this time. He wants to talk to this boss. He directly cast a spell, targeting Shen with the skill he wanted most on his body. Kang-hu's direction sent out several dark purple fireballs, and boss's fireballs were like small nuclear bombs. In order to dodge attacks, Shu Kang-hu could only keep using skills in front of the boss, but when Shu Kang-hu used instantaneous presence, the skill body moved behind the boss, and the boss also noticed the anomaly. The fireball behind immediately began to coalesce towards. Rushing towards the direction behind him, a huge explosion echoed through the entire canyon, but the thunder was louder than expected. Shin Kang-hu merely dodged to the side upon seeing the boss rise into the air again. During the next incantation, some blade-like feathers appeared around the boss's body. Shin Kang-hu was still looking for a suitable angle as countless blades attacked Shin Kang-hu instantly. and Shen Kanghu cannot withstand such area of effect skill damage. Choosing to run away, Boss has magical defenses behind him, preventing Shen Kanghu from sneaking an attack from behind. Close combat is the best method to kill a mage. He can take a few of his attacks, but he definitely will use that. A skill killed me, so I can only approach him in a different way. I have already. After knowing all of his skills, he knows nothing about mine. The man hiding in the dark is observing the battle situation between both sides. Currently, neither side can kill the other, and both are searching for each other's weaknesses at this moment. The boss began to gather power for a stronger magic spell. Shen Kanghu was so agitated that his teeth were about to clench in anger. Shen Kanghu then looked at him with a mocking expression as the boss finished singing. After the skill, countless fireballs appeared around Shen Kanghu. At this moment, Shen Kanghu was also preparing. When the real fireball hit the ground, it formed a small... While Ying's tornado was chaotic, Shen Kanghu handled it effortlessly in the middle. He's still calculating the distance between himself and his boss. At this moment, Shen Kanghu has already reached the boss's close-range attack distance. The boss showed not the slightest sign of it. Hesitation instantly appeared before his right hand. He kept reciting magic in his mouth, but what he didn't expect was that this boss had such a bad temper and was so close. Also gather strength. Magic accompanied a loud bang, and everything around was engulfed in. Yet in the next second, Shen Kanghu appeared before the boss. He greeted the other party with a friendly nod, but didn't expect. This guy is actually so pesky that he immediately breaks out into a wicked smile. The explosion sound came again as the magical ball he was controlling flew towards Shen Kanghu from behind. Shen Kanghu used the defensive shield he just obtained to block this attack, and then attached fire elements to his weapon, aiming at... The boss's nape was stabbed, his eyes narrowing into a cold gaze. Say, let it burn, as suddenly, intense flames surrounded the boss, continuously burning him. Just a few seconds and it was burned to ashes by the flames. Shen Kanghu as well. Amazed by the usefulness of this skill, the man hiding in the shadows can't help but click his tongue. He didn't expect him to really do it alone. Solved it. I think I already know how to talk to Riina. The system transmitted a prompt. Congratulations, you have successfully coerced. Drew blood to fuel your flames. Congratulations on reaching level 32. You have obtained the assassin's basic skill, accelerated movement. At the same time, the constellations gave Shen Kanghu some gifts again, but this time the amount was unexpected. Such a dimensional plunderer yet feels that the other party cannot support the boss who disappeared by dropping something. When Shen Kanghu looked relieved upon seeing the item that had fallen. The scene then changed. A white van appeared in the neighborhood, and out stepped the car summoner of the alien humans. He is currently, in reporting to the master that he has already found. He then prepared to go in and find some useful evidence at Shen Kanghu's place, living across from it. The man is observing everything through cat eyes, his hands constantly sending messages to someone. Solar Eclipse Team. The thread seems to be tracing Shen Kanghu's whereabouts by finding your house, but Cha Jiaoxi found nothing inside the house. The man on the phone wants Che Jiangxi to hurry and find him instead of killing Song Kanghu, and he would rather use Song Kanghu for his own purposes. Because he acts without hesitation yet is careful and bold, his caution is what you lack. Cha Jiaoxi couldn't help feeling a bit afraid when he heard these words. If he could really be put to use for me. He is your most potential future competitor. At this point, Xiao Di handed a document to Hui Zhe, who then said into the phone with a smile, I think I'll find... It's now the owner of this house. At this moment, Shen Kanghu's ex-girlfriend also appeared nearby. Playing with the phone seems to be a reminder for Shen Kanghu and Che Jiaoxi to take notice of the clues found. People left while that document was printing the Blue Eyes logo simultaneously. Because he acts without hesitation, yet carefully and boldly, his caution is exactly what you lack. Hearing this, Che Jiaoxi couldn't help but feel a bit frightened. If he could truly be used for me, he would be your most promising future competitor. At this moment, Xiao Di handed Che Jiaoxi a document. Che Jiaoxi smiled as he spoke to the person on the phone. I think I found the owner of this house. At this time, Shen Kanghu's ex-girlfriend also appeared nearby, fiddling with her phone as if reminding Shen Kanghu. After discovering the clue, Che Jiaoxi left with his people, and that document was printed with the logo of the Blue-Eyed Company. Meanwhile, Shen Kanghu had already exited the underground city. This time Shouhuo was a complete success, obtaining the desired boss skills. The green magic stone that fell is also worth a lot of money. Besides that, I also obtained a useful technique book. Although I can't use it now, there might still be opportunities to use it later because of this. A thing can learn skills from other professions and have its blood ignite. To master this skill, I still need to find that ring that enhances bleeding effects. When his ex-girlfriend's message came through, he told Shen Kanghu that he was investigating him at the time. It seems your actions were pretty swift, though not dear. Whose hand Jiaoxi will die in is still unknown. Shen Kanghu already knows where Che Jiaoxi's movements are heading. Is this the intelligence-gathering capability of Spirit Flower Guild? Proudly, they are from the Cleaners Union, and after discovering my whereabouts someday, they will act quickly. Would then find Liina. For Liina, we are just simple acquaintances. Because I clearly refused his proposal of cooperation, but he shouldn't have told them my whereabouts. They two unions have a grudge against Moonstone anyway, so there's no reason for them to help the lunar eclipse. They would never do that. The one that should be focusing on right now is still the lunar eclipse hitting the wall. One must first catch Xu Zhengtai and then Shen Kanghu get on the subway. But to catch Xu Zhengtai, one still needs to handle what comes next. He needs to find that person first before everything else. The scene then shifts. Only to see a man observing this building in front. This person is none other than Shen Kanghu wants to find. That person, he was also looking for Xu Zhengtai. The reason he was looking for Xu Zhengtai was because Xu Zhengtai was involved with his friend. And his superior at home didn't want him involved because this had already exceeded their jurisdiction. Due to the scope of authority, he also has reasons to investigate further. At this moment, the man has checked all of Xu Zhengtai's possible locations, and this building in front of him is the last one. A man hesitated not at all and went right in. Because he had to race against time, the man started knocking on the door. A young man opened the door and asked, "The guy asked who you were just now. Do you know Xu Zhengtai?" The young man wasn't happy about it and informed them, "The other side is only for me to live in," but the man's gaze looks towards the house instead. Discover that there's a pistol on the table. "By your appearance, you should be a hunter, right?" The young man also realized this, hastily explaining that I only used it for self-defense when the other party found my pistol. After all, the country is currently a bit unstable, and I found out there's nothing here. The man targeting the person seemed a bit discouraged at the same time. The door behind him opened. Opening a small gap, the young man just now was observing the man through the gap. Immediately after, he pulled out a pistol and aimed at him. The man also noticed something abnormal at the back of another man's head and held the pendant in his hand. The sword drawn out, and then he turned around, slicing it into the gap of the door. The young man, who didn't react in time, had his finger severed by this strike. "You really are a hunter, I see." "Nameless gunfighter, you are really too stupid. If you wanted to use self-defense as an excuse, you should have disarmed him first." The sound suppressed, he then kicked the young man in the back with one foot. This scene scared him so much that he begged for mercy on the spot. Two long swords were pressed on both sides of his head at that instant. If you don't want to die, tell me everything about Xu Zhengtai." The young man's voice trembled as he said, "I only ever saw him when I was on a quest." Once he said he would kill anyone who sought him out. He couldn't possibly hide so perfectly by himself. His back was hit with something. There must be a more terrifying person waiting in the wings. The man has already gone downstairs. It seems that the people behind Xu Zhengtai are the reason why Yang Ping stopped the investigation. Far away. The sound attracted the man's attention. Only a few colleagues from the Seoul National Security Bureau appeared, heading towards the man. Go to where people are now. He can't return to the Security Bureau, or all his efforts will have been in vain. Seeing the man gradually approaching, he was somewhat at a loss. At this moment, Shen Kanghu suddenly appeared and interrupted the other party's advance. "You are from the nation, right?" "The Security Bureau. Actually, I have something to find you for." "We were on the street to the right. I was robbed by a hunter." The man seemed somewhat relieved that someone helped me. He attracted the other party's attention and then sneaked away. Shen Kanghu noticed after that. Exposed a meaningful smile by then, the man was. He couldn't help but flip through that old photo album as he returned to his usual spot. At that time, when the two of them just joined the Security Bureau, they were full of confidence and optimism. The reason for their work was assigned to different cities. The two agreed to protect their own cities together. Their ways of protecting were different. The man stared at the photo for a long time. Then Shen Kong the tiger suddenly appeared, and the man also realized that the person in front of him was the one who had just helped him escape. "How did you find out I'm here?" Shen Konghu didn't answer the man's question, but started listing his name instead. "You are Liu Dao." "Shun, you man who works at the Seoul National Security Bureau, your expression is one of shock." "You're investigating me, huh? He said that guy told you to catch me and bring me back." "It's not your colleague, but I know why you're looking for Xu Zhengtai, because I also." "Do you even know if he's interested in working with me? I don't even understand you. Why should I work with you?" "Do you think that capturing Xu Zhengtai will end everything? Shouldn't you also want this incident to be brought to light? You there, working for the Security Bureau but finding it difficult to get information about your friend? Those guys are... Don't you think you've been restricted by some jurisdictional limits too much? Why is your colleague even there to hear this?" The man seems a bit startled. "What do you really want to say?" There is someone supporting Xu Zhengtai behind him. The man behind him has such powerful rights that even the Security Bureau fears it. Recalling what that guy just said. It seems that there are really powerful people supporting him behind his back. Even his own superior is like that. That person has arrived. Who is Shen Kanghu showing a serious expression for, as the person supporting Xu Zhengtai from behind? The man who is one of the core members of the Cleaners Union only thought the other party was flatulence because he had also experienced purification. They are not the type of people who wouldn't give each other a good face. He turned and walked away, but Shen Kanghu told him that he didn't need to care whether or not you believe what I say. But as long as our goals are consistent, it's enough for you to be at Guangming Park tomorrow afternoon at 6. You'll be able to see him when you come here. If you feel what I said is a trap, so you can investigate it first. If I keep my promise, you still have to stick with me. While doing one thing, the person following Shen Kanghu told Li Yina about the events that happened. Yina never thought Shen Kanghu's abilities were so strong. Just as they were still talking about Shen Kanghu, suddenly, interrupted by a sound, only to see Che Zhaoshi rush in, disregarding any obstacles, holding a stack of documents and smiling at Li Yina. Finally found you. Li Yina slowly stood up and said, "How dare you? Don't you know this is my territory? Or do you want to come and have a fight?" Che Zhaoshi looked at the other person calmly. "Calm down, I didn't come here to fight you." He then handed over Shen Kanghu's information. "Hello. Take a good look at this person. It's quite familiar to me. I think you should recognize him." Li Yina looks at the file and says, "Some were shocked that this guy's real name is Shen Kanghu. But since Che Zhaoshi came to find me, representing the interests of the Yamato family, he immediately denied it, stating that he doesn't even know him, Zhao Wei." Hearing these words, he can't help but curse the other party as shameless. "I already knew he was here." Li Yina has accepted a commission, and she then forcefully, Pailapaito, seemed to be reminding herself. "Come here for what? His abilities don't meet our standards, so—" Refused him, then changed his expression. "You listen clearly. Have you understood? If you don't want to fight, get your people out of here right now." "That's good, you'd better not." Lying. "Otherwise, you should know the consequences," and left here angrily, Li Yina. "Let men find a few eyes following the car, so he can know the other party's real-time movements. I think if this matter falls on that, the guy knows maybe the Blue Eyes and the Sun Guild have relations." After leaving Blue Eyes, West Chi is venting his frustration on the younger members in front of him. A snap of the fingers turned the man in front of him into ashes, and when Cao Xiao recalled picking up Kanghu's business card, "He didn't just fail to contact me, he also disappeared from Datu within a few days, which means he knew from the start that he wouldn't be able to keep his promise. He's out already, even though the master still wants to win him over, but here, he's already an enemy, if he tries to take the master away. I don't mind killing him for my affection. After all, humans do make small mistakes." Wrong. I think my lord will definitely forgive me. The scene then switches to a man receiving the news that someone is looking for Xu Zhengta. Made a light chuckle. Just a bunch of stupid idiots, that's all. Don't they know I'm hiding? In the dark, the man is happily playing a tune from his hometown and doesn't notice the person behind him. Today, he didn't come back until 3 in the afternoon. Hearing this, a chill ran through the man's heart. It was much later than I expected. At the same time, the man's message also arrived. The appearance of this person is exactly who Shen Kanghu was looking for, Xu Zhengtai. Xu Zhengtai immediately covered up his panic expression. "I think you must have mistaken me for someone else." Suddenly, a black mist rushed towards his eyes. Xu Zhengtai reacted very quickly. He ducked by raising his head, then stomped his feet on the ground, followed by releasing. The illusion ran out. Shen Kanghu looked at where his opponent had fled, and couldn't help but feel a sense of, "What a high magic resistance this guy has. The black fog couldn't even control him immediately." Xu Zhengtai stared at him with cautious intensity. "Is it this guy who's been looking for me all along? He must already know where I've been hiding." Then he could not let him live. Immediately, he drew out countless dart weapons and aimed towards Shen Kanghu's direction. Shen Kanghu used his defensive shield to fend off this ambush by Xu Zhengtai. The face curiously looked at the guy across from him. Isn't he supposed to be an assassin? Why would he know this technique? Could Xu Zhengtai continue using Shadow Chaos to throw daggers at Shen Kanghu's surroundings? But this time, Shen Kanghu evaded Xu Zheng entirely with his body. Tai feels that the other party is somewhat tricky, his reaction speed. He quickly increased the distance between us. He was avoiding it. "Are you observing me? If that's the case, I'll deliberately get close to you." Li left a step away from Xu Zhengtai and advanced, preparing to resolve it with close combat. Opposite him, a large hand suddenly appeared in front of him. That large hand was approaching his body. The very next instant, Xu Zhengtai could no longer move. Shen Kang. The tiger has already taken a stance and is ready. Preparations inserted the weapon into the opponent's body, and Xu Zhengtai screamed in terror. "You can't kill me! I'll tell!" How one secret could matter to Shen Kanghu. He paid absolutely no attention to what secret was in his mouth and faced Xu. Zhengtai's body stabbed over towards Shen Kanghu with a dismissive smile. "Actually, your biggest obstacle is that you initiated this. Thinking you would hide Wei Hao's secret techniques and fantasies, I had already laid traps in all possible places where you might conceal them. Your every move. I can clearly know if you move. Your root, injured Xu Zhengtai, wants to run away right now, while Shen Kanghu has a playful expression on his face. Save it. You can't escape while you're in my hands." Immediately following, the thing in his hand was propelled out and landed somewhere. Fong immediately saw fresh blood. In the next second, Xu Zhengtai felt a force filling his body. He writhed on the ground in pain from his blood, and his mouth didn't stop reciting national treasures. "You've barely recovered from the pain and still managed to give Song Kanghu a stern warning like this, huh? I'll tear you apart into pieces eventually, you dead thing. You know it." Who is the person behind me? Clean Association Chairman Tai Guangheng Xu Zhengtai thought for a moment and wondered why he did this. "You know who my backer is now? Shut up and go to sleep properly for once." The scene then switches to where Liu Daoxun is currently. He recalled Shen Kang as he prepared to go to the square Shen Kanghu mentioned. The tiger told him that the National Security Bureau will handle the work through an application. But you frequently using that watch doesn't mean you treat it as a keepsake of the deceased, does it? Does your friend's account still exist first? You make the Security Bureau delete this account, and they will assume it's you. Friends of my friend died on duty. The people behind Shu Zhengtai are definitely involved. They won't let things develop as in that plot. They want to handle it as discreetly as possible. The person behind this incident will definitely try to suppress it, and they will certainly choose to cover it up. Account instead of deleting the account, you so-called ones. Classmates had also checked through the account information before finding it. I'll bring Shu Zhengtai to you at that house as a condition, and you have to cooperate with me. If that guy is telling the truth about using that account, then all of this is the fault of the Security Bureau and the Purification Union. How should I handle it now that they've already met at the agreed location, and you're extremely late? It seems like you're unable to accept this for now. Liu Daoxun did not answer, instead holding Shu Zhengtai like a dead dog would be held. Liu Daoxun found it hard to believe that he caught him in just a few hours. Shen Kanghu then told him, I specifically. If you want to arrest him in public, you should choose a time when he spends the most time with one person. What if the people behind him are already powerless to help? Or do you want to retaliate against him? Will not stop you. Everything depends on your will, so your choice matters. What was Liu Daoxun doing as he looked at the other party without speaking for a long time? He had been thinking of a solution for a long while. Still, reason took the upper hand at this moment, as the area around was crowded with people. Shen Kanghu called and brought over the Security Bureau guys. The man panted as he ran over, saying, It's you who contacted us. Did you catch Shu Zhengtai? Shen Kanghu replied, flicking Shu Zhengtai out. Just as the man wanted to ask how they caught him, seeing his expression made him choose to keep quiet. Immediately after, he asked the other party to submit their hunter number for reward distribution. Shen Kanghu input a series of numbers and passed his phone over. Meanwhile, the other party transferred 3 billion won to the designated account. The underground city lease agreement contract had also been sent out. The scene changed, and it was already evening. Shen Kanghu didn't expect the other party to abandon revenge. He sighed. If he were there, he would have wished for the same. Liu Daoxun told Shen Kanghu to look up at him. Just us two. Did you catch Shu Zhengtai? Shen Kanghu replied, flicking Shu Zhengtai out. Just as the man wanted to ask how they caught him, seeing his expression made him choose to keep quiet. Immediately after, he asked the other party to submit their hunter number for reward distribution. Shen Kanghu input a series of numbers and passed his phone over. Meanwhile, the other party transferred 3 billion won to the designated account. The underground city lease agreement contract had also been sent out. The scene changed, and it was already evening. Shen Kanghu didn't expect the other party to abandon revenge. He sighed. If he were there, he would have wished for the same. Liu Daoxun told Shen Kanghu to look up at him. Just us two. Did you catch Shu Zhengtai? Shen Kanghu replied, flicking Shu Zhengtai out. Just as the man wanted to ask how they caught him, seeing his expression made him choose to keep quiet. Immediately after, he asked the other party to submit their hunter number for reward distribution. Shen Kanghu input a series of numbers and passed his phone over. Meanwhile, the other party transferred 3 billion won to the designated account. The underground city lease agreement contract had also been sent out. The scene changed, and it was already evening. Shen Kanghu didn't expect the other party to abandon revenge. He sighed. If he were there, he would have wished for the same. Liu Daoxun told Shen Kanghu to look up at him. Just us two. Did you catch Shu Zhengtai? Shen Kanghu replied, flicking Shu Zhengtai out. Just as the man wanted to ask how they caught him, seeing his expression made him choose to keep quiet. Immediately after, he asked the other party to submit their hunter number for reward distribution. Shen Kanghu input a series of numbers and passed his phone over. Meanwhile, the other party transferred 3 billion won to the designated account. The underground city lease agreement contract had also been sent out. The scene changed, and it was already evening. Shen Kanghu didn't expect the other party to abandon revenge. He sighed. If he were there, he would have wished for the same. Liu Daoxun told Shen Kanghu to look up at him. Just us two. Did you catch Shu Zhengtai? Shen Kanghu replied, flicking Shu Zhengtai out. Just as the man wanted to ask how they caught him, seeing his expression made him choose to keep quiet. Immediately after, he asked the other party to submit their hunter number for reward distribution. Shen Kanghu input a series of numbers and passed his phone over. Meanwhile, the other party transferred 3 billion won to the designated account. The underground city lease agreement contract had also been sent out. The scene changed, and it was already evening. Shen Kanghu didn't expect the other party to abandon revenge. He sighed. If he were there, he would have wished for the same. Liu Daoxun told Shen Kanghu to look up at him. Just us two. Did you catch Shu Zhengtai? Shen Kanghu replied, flicking Shu Zhengtai out. Just as the man wanted to ask how they caught him, seeing his expression made him choose to keep quiet. Immediately after, he asked the other party to submit their hunter number for reward distribution. Shen Kanghu input a series of numbers and passed his phone over. Meanwhile, the other party transferred 3 billion won to the designated account. The underground city lease agreement contract had also been sent out. The scene changed, and it was already evening. Shen Kanghu didn't expect the other party to abandon revenge. He sighed. If he were there, he would have wished for the same. Liu Daoxun told Shen Kanghu to look up at him. Just us two. Did you catch Shu Zhengtai? Shen Kanghu replied, flicking Shu Zhengtai out. Just as the man wanted to ask how they caught him, seeing his expression made him choose to keep quiet. Immediately after, he asked the other party to submit their hunter number for reward distribution. Shen Kung-hu input a series of numbers and passed his phone over. Meanwhile, the other party transferred 3 billion won to the designated account. The underground city lease agreement contract had also been sent out. The scene changed, and it was already evening. Shen Kung-hu didn't expect the other party to abandon revenge. He sighed. If he were there, he would have wished for the same. Liu Daoxun told Shen Kung-hu to look up at him. Just us two. Did you catch Xu Zhengtai? Shen Kung-hu replied, flicking Xu Zhengtai out. Just as the man wanted to ask how they caught him, seeing his expression made him choose to keep quiet. Immediately after, he asked the other party to submit their hunter number for reward distribution. Shen Kung-hu input a series of numbers and passed his phone over. Meanwhile, the other party transferred 3 billion won to the designated account. The underground city lease agreement contract had also been sent out. The scene changed, and it was already evening. Shen Kung-hu didn't expect the other party to abandon revenge. He sighed. If he were there, he would have wished for the same. Liu Daoxun told Shen Kung-hu to look up at him. Just us two. As tiny as stars in the universe, yet even so, we still hold on to fantasies of hope in this difficult world for a place we can trust. Originally, I thought the Clean Union and Safety Bureau had such awareness. Yet now, all I want is to resolve this matter. If everything you say is true, then I cannot let the Safety Bureau and Clean Union succeed. Shen Kung-hu looked seriously at them. He should still take the path of resisting leadership as depicted in the novel. In his final chapter, he became a villain and was the top enemy of the Clean Union. In this incident with Xu Zhengtao, he was caught by Cai Guangheng, but this time I will eliminate all traces. As tiny as stars in the universe, yet even so, we still hold on to fantasies of hope in this difficult world for a place we can trust. Originally, I thought the Clean Union and Safety Bureau had such awareness. Yet now, all I want is to resolve this matter. If everything you say is true, then I cannot let the Safety Bureau and Clean Union succeed. Shen Kung-hu looked seriously at them. He should still take the path of resisting leadership as depicted in the novel. In his final chapter, he became a villain and was the top enemy of the Clean Union. In this incident with Xu Zhengtao, he was caught by Cai Guangheng, but this time I will eliminate all traces. As tiny as stars in the universe, yet even so, we still hold on to fantasies of hope in this difficult world for a place we can trust. Originally, I thought the Clean Union and Safety Bureau had such awareness. Yet now, all I want is to resolve this matter. If everything you say is true, then I cannot let the Safety Bureau and Clean Union succeed. Shen Kung-hu looked seriously at them. He should still take the path of resisting leadership as depicted in the novel. In his final chapter, he became a villain and was the top enemy of the Clean Union. In this incident with Xu Zhengtao, he was caught by Cai Guangheng, but this time, I will eliminate all traces. As tiny as stars in the universe, yet even so, we still hold on to fantasies of hope in this difficult world, for a place we can trust. Originally, I thought the Clean Union and Safety Bureau had such awareness. Yet now, all I want is to resolve this matter. If everything you say is true, then I cannot let the Safety Bureau and Clean Union succeed. Shen Kung-hu looked seriously at them. He should still take the path of resisting leadership as depicted in the novel. In his final chapter, he became a villain and was the top enemy of the Clean Union. In this incident with Xu Zhengtao, he was caught by Cai Guangheng, but this time I will eliminate all traces. As tiny as stars in the universe, yet even so, we still hold on to fantasies of hope in this difficult world, for a place we can trust. Originally, I thought the Clean Union and Safety Bureau had such awareness. Yet now, all I want is to resolve this matter. If everything you say is true, then I cannot let the Safety Bureau and Clean Union succeed. Shen Kung-hu looked seriously at them. He should still take the path of resisting leadership as depicted in the novel. In his final chapter, he became a villain and was the top enemy of the Clean Union. In this incident with Xu Zhengtao, he was caught by Cai Guangheng, but this time I will eliminate all traces. As tiny as stars in the universe, yet even so, we still hold on to fantasies of hope in this difficult world, for a place we can trust. Originally, I thought the Clean Union and Safety Bureau had such awareness. Yet now, all I want is to resolve this matter. If everything you say is true, then I cannot let the Safety Bureau and Clean Union succeed. Shen Kung-hu looked seriously at them. He should still take the path of resisting leadership, as depicted in the novel. In his final chapter, he became a villain and was the top enemy of the Clean Union. In this incident with Xu Zhengtao, he was caught by Cai Guangheng, but this time I will eliminate all traces. As tiny as stars in the universe, yet even so, we still hold on to fantasies of hope in this difficult world, for a place we can trust. Originally, I thought the Clean Union and Safety Bureau had such awareness. Yet now, all I want is to resolve this matter. If everything you say is true, then I cannot let the Safety Bureau and Clean Union succeed. Shen Kung-hu looked seriously at them. He should still take the path of resisting leadership, as depicted in the novel. In his final chapter, he became a villain and was the top enemy of the Clean Union. In this incident with Xu Zhengtao, he was caught by Cai Guangheng, but this time I will eliminate all traces. As tiny as stars in the universe, yet even so, we still hold on to fantasies of hope in this difficult world, for a place we can trust. Originally, I thought the Clean Union and Safety Bureau had such awareness. Yet now, all I want is to resolve this matter. If everything you say is true, then I cannot let the Safety Bureau and Clean Union succeed. Shen Kung-hu looked seriously at them. He should still take the path of resisting leadership, as depicted in the novel. In his final chapter, he became a villain and was the top enemy of the Clean Union. In this incident with Xu Zhengtao, he was caught by Cai Guangheng, but this time I will eliminate all traces. All erased, so nothing will happen. Ji Daoshen, thanks Shen Kanghu. I thought you were... I only agreed for the bounty, and that's all it is. Part of the reason, after all, I'm not someone who works for free. I care more about how to cut off Cai Guangheng's head than about the bounty. Limbs, because those are the greatest wealth. Meanwhile, Cai Guangheng is being arrested while holding Chu Zhengtai's information. You've been crippled, have you? Yes, he is still in danger. We have already taken him to the hospital. Cai Guangheng threw the files carelessly. Never mind anyway, I can't use him anymore. In the next second, a huge killing intent appeared in Cai Guangheng's eyes. Tell me which bastard did this, and he hurriedly looked up the hunter number he just recorded. Followed by the man's terror was Cai Guangheng's dissatisfaction. What exactly happened? The man's face is full of panic because all the recorded information just disappeared. There's a police officer involved in this. All information has been deleted, but this is an account of a deceased person. I think something must have gone wrong. Cai Guangheng, angry at the mistake, smashed the table in front of him and glared at the other person with bulging veins. Are you making me believe you? These nonsense words from you people at the security bureau. Does everyone just eat shit? Cai Guangheng was about to get angry, but a voice stopped him. Only to see a huge rune appear before several people. Enough of this, Cai Guangheng. You need to calm down and be human now. It's just that I think you shouldn't be so angry. The ones who came out from the runes shouldn't matter much. So you're not in a good mood, huh? Cai Guangheng knew trouble had found him when Zhang Shihuan arrived. The door opened at this moment, and Zhang Shihuan said to leave the two younger brothers, causing their pupils to suddenly contract. Nodding stiffly, with a smile like puppets, he left. Then the two sat down and said, let's talk. Really, let's talk. What happened? My work. I think someone is deliberately messing with him. Right now, a powerful pressure appears in the room. Am I following you? Soaked your feet in the water, now where's the problem? Whether they are with us or not doesn't matter. Who dares to stand in front of our dreams? All will become ashes. Meanwhile, Shen Kanghu arrives at a stone carving. In the novel, this is a hidden deputy. This Banja Shenhuan can use it, but only this time, he only. A dangerous aura followed as Shen Kanghu stepped into the cave. Then he summoned his weapon, and suddenly an indistinct shape appeared as the black shadow gradually faded away. A humanoid monster appeared, Boss Zhang Ying. This is a tricky guy. If you get too close, you'll be in danger. The two of them are... When facing off, the tree's not far away. It seems like there is someone observing everything suddenly. The boss is emitting a strange power. Only, see behind the boss, a giant figure emerges following the boss's intent. Flash past, only to see several black shadows burst from the towering figure's shadow. After these shadows landed, they transformed into countless clones. Shen Kanghu observed the others' movements because he wanted to deal with this boss. 10th level is very important. Meanwhile, all the clones rushed over towards Shen Kanghu at once. By this time, Shen Kanghu. The tiger discovered that the 10th level user had already matured in utilizing the gloves. The general threw the weapon out, but the weapon did not attack the first clone instead, and passed by the side of his opponent, then moved with their bodies touching. In an instant, several clones were arranged like a sugarcane lolly. Upon seeing Shen Kanghu's stiffened state after he became rigid, the other clones immediately pounced on him. At this moment, Shen Kanghu did not retract his previous weapon, but instead summoned a longsword. With a powerful push of his legs, he headed towards the other clones. In just 1 second, he appeared before a clone. Just as Shen Kanghu was about to deal with the clone in front of him, an unusual feeling emerged suddenly. The main body of the buff appeared behind him. However, when the buff attacked Shen Kanghu, only to find that the person in front was just a clone, as Shen Kanghu waved his hand upward, the distant figure vanished. The dagger suddenly moved at that moment. The boss lost sight of Shen Kanghu and began looking around frantically. Meanwhile, Shen Kanghu once again used the glove's properties to control the dagger from afar, and suddenly a light point appeared in the sky. As the light dot approached gradually, the dagger had already appeared above boss's head, and in an instant, the main hall was infused with a massive force as it inserted itself following the boss's form. The shaking stopped after a few seconds with no sound. It's so easy to solve this troublesome boss. Shen Kanghu had already planned this well in advance, using a clone to attract the other party's attention while the main body hid nearby, cooperating with the dagger that the other party hadn't noticed before. Step by step, the boss controlled. In my own design, as the boss disappeared, the system also transmitted a reminder of success. Target's skill, Shadow Step obtained. After getting Shadow Step, Shen Kanghu started smiling. Because this skill is particularly important to him, Shen Kanghu's first step also went smoothly. Achievement, as Shen Kanghu was still checking the rewards, a shadow suddenly fused together again, leaving only one. A clone resembling Shen Kanghu appeared, and at this moment, Shen Kanghu showed a wary expression. Sure enough, just like in the novel. The screen shifts as Guanghong reminds Seihuan not to be too optimistic after all. The presence suddenly became unmistakably familiar again. What do you mean by that? The world revolves around me. I am the good. I am justice. Everything is at my discretion. Do you mean you are the main character? Correct, I am the protagonist. I'm fighting another version of myself in my own story. It's a battle between me and myself. The boss not only copied Sun Kang-hoo's face, but also, he even copied all of his skills, and the boss showed not the slightest hesitation. Yu picked up his weapon and assumed an attacking stance. In an instant, the boss used a short-distance long jump, heading towards Shen Kang-hoo, but Shen Kang-hoo was already prepared, just turning his head to dodge. After this attack, they immediately drew their weapons to fight. Since the other party knew, realize that all of your fighting techniques can only be used in close combat first. If a clone spell is used in battle, it will be deciphered by the opponent's perception at this moment. The boss used black mist to obscure vision, and this weakness was known by both parties. If Shen Kang-hoo uses short-distance teleportation recklessly, the opponent will definitely use binding skills. The rest? It's a skill that requires physical contact now, though both of them were taught by the same teacher, so it's quite difficult. The counterattack was immediately followed by Shen Kang-hoo's use of the skill Random Stabs on the boss from behind. Thought the surprise attack was successful, I didn't expect them to easily neutralize it. Only to see boss surrounded by a barrier is now... This is the survival skill magic barrier Shen Kang-hoo obtained before. Now a layer of flame appears on Shen Kang-hoo's dagger. Since neither side can break through each other's defenses, let's see how long you can hold out. Immediately using the technique I just obtained. The boss didn't understand the purpose of the other party's skills in this scene. But he still activated his perception skill and then headed towards Shen Kang-hoo. His true form lunged forward, and Shen Kang-hoo merely gave a disdainful smile, as if everything was under his control. When Boss Jung shows it to Shen Kang-hoo, only to find that the other party was just a clone, but Shen Kang-hoo used instant body again to appear behind him. This playful teasing had the boss so angry his teeth were about to clamp down, but Shen Kang-hoo's attack was blocked by the magic again. The legal barriers have resisted what the boss didn't expect. It was the originally firm barrier that began to gradually crack. In just a few seconds, the barrier was torn open a breach. Then the boss telephoned his defense and suddenly launched an attack with both feet, stabbing towards Shen Kang-hoo, but was pierced through by the boss. Shen Kang-hoo then showed a mocking smile. When the boss also noticed the anomaly, only to see Shen Kang-hoo using instant movement skill appeared in front of the boss, and the opponent barely managed to resist it with that broken magic barrier only. A momentary time barrier broke again. Boss had wanted to seize Tiger Body's stiffened state but didn't expect. It was a powerful strike, but it was easily brushed off by the other party. Dodge, and Shen Kang-hoo appeared behind him again. The second in command didn't use a magic barrier but instead wielded his weapon in hand, thrown out, but the attack still hit Shen. The clone of Kang-hoo is gradually crumbling the boss with these operations. Then the two of them proceeded to do as before. The boss used a magic barrier to block, while Shen Kang-hoo pierced through and broke the barrier. Just as Shen Kang-hoo appeared behind the boss again, the boss was about to continue using the magic barrier. But he couldn't gather the barrier no matter how he tried, which made Ba-san curse. Just then, Shen Kang-hoo appeared. But by the look of it, you've already reached your limit. Right now you might be... There's not enough magical power to use it anymore. Maybe you even copied my magic hypersensitivity certificate just now. Right now, the boss finally showed a panicked expression. The boss was instantly covered in soot from the deep pit. The boss who suffered this misfortune with 100 holes did not fall down, but instead used his jumping skill to run out of options. In contrast, Body Health Tiger didn't choose to pursue, but merely raised his hand and struck. A snap of his fingers and the blood ignited. In an instant, the wounds that were originally on the boss's body suddenly burst open. The boss is already devoid of life as he falls to the ground. From now on, it will gradually dissipate thanks to you. Letting me feel this for the first time in a while, my magic. Hypersensitivity is actually useful. At this moment, the system transmitted a reminder. Congratulations, you have obtained. Skill enhancement is limited to one-time use only. Obtained system. Remind the afterlife Kang-hoo not to mind it, because he had already planned everything in advance, then found the skill on the skill bar. Skill at this time, a colorful light appeared. Originally, Max's skill turned into Fin. Here, Shen Kang-hoo smiled as his first ultimate skill finally appeared at this moment. Shen Kang-hoo looked up and saw only a data-like light point gradually. The contraction of the light point's contraction blocked the fortune that originally belonged to Zhang Shihuan. At this moment, Shen Kang-hoo sighed and said, "Fortunately, I set this copy as a one-time copy." But this line still made Shen Kang-hoo feel rather unexpected. That was the red crystal and skill book in his hand. Red. Crystal is used for upgrading items or, if the skill rare material were to be obtained by Zhang Shihuan. Feel jealous. So he immediately put away the red crystal and picked up the skill book exclusive to assassins, quickly finding the skill he wanted, When You Are Poked. When you attack an enemy's back. When you attack an enemy from behind. This copy has been fully completed. Kang-hoo is also preparing to go back and handle Shu Jung-tai. The scene then switches to Li-ina being friendly. Greeted Shin Kang-ho first. I have a question I want to ask you. Why did you transfer 1 billion won to my account? If Zhao Shi knew about this, he would definitely come looking for trouble. Shen Kuhu explained this. Because Shen Kuhu names must not appear in front of him. Otherwise, he will come looking for them directly. It is said that they are always on his mind. To catch you, you didn't hesitate to burn many hunters alive. You don't have to care about that. I'm investigating your identity for a reason. Good protection. But Shin Kung-hoo's words made Liina pause. Because I grabbed. Stayed with Shu Jungtai, and I didn't tell you my identity for a reason. If I revealed my identity, even if I get the commission, Blue Eyes won't pay me the reward. Liina didn't listen to Shin Kung-hoo's words. Instead, they were still immersed in the matter of Shu Jungtai's arrest. He actually managed to grab Shu Jungtai without leaving any trace at all. He always manages to surprise me. Just how high is his limit? Where should I call you now that I already know who you are? For everyone's safety, it's better if you call me by my username. There's no problem, so let's talk about the commission now. The two of them chatted. After a long while, Liina said that someone would specifically take you there, and they also wanted to see your abilities. Just as Shin Kung-hoo arrived at the assembly point, a cute young girl walked over and introduced herself friendly to Shin Kung-hoo. Seeing the other's appearance, Shin Kung-hoo also nodded in acknowledgement. His eyes then turned towards the dedicated bus. There were professional hunters guarding inside the bus, though. However, their fees are very expensive, but they can guarantee our safety for this time. Shin Kung-hoo didn't pay much attention and casually found a seat to rest. He wasn't sure how long it had been. The usually quiet bus suddenly became noisy, and Shin Kung-hoo, who was woken up by the commotion, clearly wasn't happy as he turned to look at the person in charge. Can't you guys lower your voices a bit? I need to focus now. To rest for a moment, Shin Kung-hoo suddenly summoned his weapon and saw through its reflection. The figure is walking towards me. Shin Kung-hoo does not. He moved closer with a grim face, suddenly picking up a weapon and aiming it. Kung-hoo only heard a loud bang. This scared other passengers almost to the point of fainting, but in the next second, the man was stunned to see that the original seat. The man on the chair disappeared just then, as Shin Kung-hoo utilized instant body transfer. Having arrived behind the man, Shin Kung-hoo showed no hesitation and used the piercing skill against his back, his expression sinister. This skill of smiling really is useful, but this action attracted everyone in the bus. Other hunters saw this and immediately pulled out their weapons, preparing to fight them. There are many. I cannot. Letting down his guard, suddenly the man with a constellation on his head caught Shin Kung-hoo's attention. The father of constellation music is listening to classical music and recovering. Speed increased 5 times while Yi Xiangmei also drew her weapon to prepare for battle. Shin Kung. The tiger told the other party that he could handle it himself. Yi Xiangmei didn't refuse, but instead looked at him with admiration on her face. I can observe your abilities just fine. Shin Kung-hoo stomped his foot and saw a cloud of black mist rapidly surround several people who showed no reaction. People quickly began... Finished one move at the same time, several other clones attacked different people as well. The man gritted his teeth and raised a pistol. Damn it, Dong. Never let me see you like that. At that moment, everyone in the car lost their sight and was disintegrated into multiple copies. Shin Kung-hoo suddenly appeared and stabbed towards Gong just as he was spinning around. Weak yellow hair thought that in front of him was the original body. Subconsciously pulling the trigger to shoot, but didn't expect it to be a decoy. He turned to see others struggling and suffering from the black mist and their clones after Huang Mo Youth Kong-hoo was severely injured. One move before your turn. Pick decided to solve the issue again, and even the earphone guy didn't hide on the table anymore. He shot his split self towards the one in front of him, right as... When Han Earphones hadn't reacted yet, Shin Kung-hoo, already appearing on his left side just after a breath, several wounds appeared on the earphone guy. The kid is really good. Although he made me... impressed. But that's far from enough. Hearing this, Shin Kung-hoo sneered and looked at him. It seems you don't know the consequences yet. Shin Kung-hoo snapped his fingers again in an instant, just as he had done before. There are injured people with wounds continuously oozing blood accompanied by a thumping sound. Everyone died from Shin Kung-hoo's blood burning. This time's blood burning had such an effect. It was the reason Shin Kung-hoo could elevate his blood combustion to its ultimate form earlier. Now, most people in the bus turned into zombies, but the headphone guy relied on his superb recovery and withstood this damage. You damn guy, it seems you like music a lot. Meanwhile, the headphone guy quietly picked up a weapon. Arrogant guy, I'll send you on your way right now. However, one shoe stepped on the headphone guy's foot. The headphone guy had no defenses as Shin Kung-hoo's dagger flew over and straight hit him, causing his death. It was Amy who helped Shin Kung-hoo throw the person who threw the headphones over. A slight upward curve appeared at the corner of Amy's lips. Most people in the bus turned into zombies, but the headphone guy managed to withstand this damage due to his advanced recovery skills. You damn guy, it seems you like music a lot. Meanwhile, the headphone guy quietly picked up a weapon. Arrogant guy, I'll send you on your way right now. However, one shoe stepped on the headphone guy's foot. The headphone guy had no defenses as Shin Kung-hoo's dagger flew over and straight hit him, causing his death. It was Amy who helped Shin Kung-hoo throw the person who threw the headphones over. A slight upward curve appeared at the corner of Amy's lips. It was the reason Shin Kung-hoo could elevate his blood combustion to its ultimate form earlier. Now, most people in the bus turned into zombies, but the headphone guy relied on his superb recovery and withstood this damage. You damn guy, it seems you like music a lot. Meanwhile, the headphone guy quietly picked up a weapon. Arrogant guy, I'll send you on your way right now. However, one shoe stepped on the headphone guy's foot. The headphone guy had no defenses as Shen Kanghu's dagger flew over and straight hit him, causing his death. It was Amy who helped Shen Kanghu throw the person who threw the headphones over. A slight upward curve appeared at the corner of Amy's lips. It was the reason Shen Kanghu could elevate his blood combustion to its ultimate form earlier. Now, most people in the bus turned into zombies, but the headphone guy relied on his superb recovery and withstood this damage. You damn guy, it seems you like music a lot. Meanwhile, the headphone guy quietly picked up a weapon. Arrogant guy, I'll send you on your way right now. However, one shoe stepped on the headphone guy's foot. The headphone guy had no defenses as Shen Kanghu's dagger flew over and straight hit him, causing his death. It was Amy who helped Shen Kanghu throw the person who threw the headphones over. A slight upward curve appeared at the corner of Amy's lips. It was the reason Shen Kanghu could elevate his blood combustion to its ultimate form earlier. Now, most people in the bus turned into zombies, but the headphone guy relied on his superb recovery and withstood this damage. You damn guy, it seems you like music a lot. Meanwhile, the headphone guy quietly picked up a weapon. Arrogant guy, I'll send you on your way right now. However, one shoe stepped on the headphone guy's foot. The headphone guy had no defenses as Shen Kanghu's dagger flew over and straight hit him, causing his death. It was Amy who helped Shen Kanghu throw the person who threw the headphones over. A slight upward curve appeared at the corner of Amy's lips. It was the reason Shen Kanghu could elevate his blood combustion to its ultimate form earlier. Now, most people in the bus turned into zombies, but the headphone guy relied on his superb recovery and withstood this damage. You damn guy, it seems you like music a lot. Meanwhile, the headphone guy quietly picked up a weapon. Arrogant guy, I'll send you on your way right now. However, one shoe stepped on the headphone guy's foot. The headphone guy had no defenses as Shen Kanghu's dagger flew over and straight hit him, causing his death. It was Amy who helped Shen Kanghu throw the person who threw the headphones over. A slight upward curve appeared at the corner of Amy's lips. It was the reason Shen Kanghu could elevate his blood combustion to its ultimate form earlier. Now, most people in the bus turned into zombies, but the headphone guy relied on his superb recovery and withstood this damage. You damn guy, it seems you like music a lot. Meanwhile, the headphone guy quietly picked up a weapon. Arrogant guy, I'll send you on your way right now. However, one shoe stepped on the headphone guy's foot. The headphone guy had no defenses as Shen Kanghu's dagger flew over and straight hit him, causing his death. It was Amy who helped Shen Kanghu throw the person who threw the headphones over. A slight upward curve appeared at the corner of Amy's lips. It was the reason Shen Kanghu could elevate his blood combustion to its ultimate form earlier. Now, most people in the bus turned into zombies, but the headphone guy relied on his superb recovery and withstood this damage. You damn guy, it seems you like music a lot. Meanwhile, the headphone guy quietly picked up a weapon. Arrogant guy, I'll send you on your way right now. However, one shoe stepped on the headphone guy's foot. The headphone guy had no defenses as Shen Kanghu's dagger flew over and straight hit him, causing his death. It was Amy who helped Shen Kanghu throw the person who threw the headphones over. A slight upward curve appeared at the corner of Amy's lips. Good, you have passed the assessment. Shen Kanghu solved the hunters on the vehicle right after the system transmitted the request. Wake, congratulations on successfully plundering the music mansion. Very good. Hereafter you can also listen to classical music to refine your temperament during breaks. Meanwhile, Shen Kanghu started cleaning up the battlefield. This is a good item, a physical tool proportional to my level. These shoes are also high agility. The leftover items from the swift tools are not worth keeping. You might as well get rid of them. At this moment, Yi Shang walked over. You shouldn't fight. Do you at least thank me? After all, I feel my assist is very good. I want to formally appoint you as Captain Taihejiang. Shen Kanghu was taken aback by these words. Taihejiang Weishan is just a side story in the novel, so I just gave them names and whether they lived or died. And Taihejiang was one of them. Unexpectedly, Yi Mei became the captain as well. Captain, you will receive $250 million every year if you can bring me Tai Shou's left arm. It's just that Supreme Shen Kanghu of Weishan pretended to think for a moment and said he still had one condition. I will elevate Tahe River's status above Wei Mountain so that I have a chance to meet the leader of the Abyss. The Abyss is one of the forces in the Entry Chemical Union. They are the most cohesive and organized military organization. Despite them eventually disbanding due to internal rebellion in the novel, I need to intervene with them quickly. If I need to defeat the Alchemists' Union, I'll have to rely on their power. I didn't expect this opportunity to come so soon. Taihe and He are one of the cleansing organizations in the Abyss. This is a good opportunity to get close to the Abyss. Looks like you have quite a bit. Ambition, but we need to see the results before we can discuss the details with you. The scene shifts as the two of them arrive at an empty others. In the vast square were staring intently with predatory gazes. Are you two looking at the replica boundary in the distance? Gong Taishio checks it from time to time. He also noticed some unfriendly glares at that time. From the atmosphere at the square, they seem not to be here to tackle the dungeon's difficulty. Do they all come to catch Lady Shi? As you said, they are mostly all. This purpose you should know about fireworks. Fireworks are terms used when mercenaries work together. Once there is, using fireworks means that someone will definitely die. Before executing the task, they would inform each other of their wishes as well. Someone who sacrifices themselves as a condition for survival will. Completing their wishes just requires me not to participate in the mission, and they will do it for me. This way of executing Wen Yan Kanghu fell into thought. Although Gong Taishio survived this assassination attempt, this time I need to change this result. Everyone in Weishan despises the mention of Gong Taishio because he is covered. Many people's lives, he would just be a madman, wouldn't care about anyone otherwise, he also wouldn't. There won't be a title of Weishan Butcher for him, he is a wanted criminal, so there are many assassination missions against him. The main reason nobody has been able to kill him is because of his body. A commotion attracted. Their attention only saw Grandmaster Guo Taishio walking about confidently, and in his left hand was... The gemstone shone particularly brightly when the people in the square saw it. After the task objective was announced, everyone's gaze fell on him. Some of the bystanders were still discussing the gemstone in his hand. At this moment, when Mo Mei spoke up, she revealed Gongsho's secret whenever Gongsho used. When using magic, he needs to rely on the strength of his left arm. This is also why he relies so much on the gemstone. Everyone here is thinking about that. The bounty is now, they are all looking for an opportunity as he steps into the dungeon. Now is the time to act. Shen Konghu plans to leave here. Don't you want to come with me? Taihe and Taihe are nearby. Let's talk about this later. I have something else to deal with now. One thing done as the scene switched to the trading hall, Shen Konghu spent 5 billion won on a prop. This prop can reduce pain effects and also increase endurance stats. This is very good for Shen Konghu. The things. Then they sold all the loot obtained before. Shen Konghu wandered around the trading center for a long time, but still couldn't find what he was looking for. Suddenly, Shen Konghu thought of that guy Gong Taishou. Without a zodiac sign, but his subordinates still flatter him. They are maintaining a fake so secretly. Plotting where he really is. He should have developed the habit of checking his work before executing plans. Right now, a man passed by Shen Konghu, catching his attention, the holder of the sacred bow and arrow constellation. Seeing this, Shen Konghu's lips curled slightly. Finally caught you. Shen Konghu found the real Gong Taishou through astrology. Gong Taishou plans to leave the hunter trading hall. Konghu followed silently behind him. This wasn't just about the clothing. If it weren't for his astrological sign, I didn't even think it was him, and surprisingly, there were numerous constellation bearers gathered around him. Public Lady Shou got into the bus, and it departed immediately. Shen Konghu prepared to continue on his journey. If you trail them and rashly use transportation, causing your paths to overlap, he will definitely notice. Though this way of doing it will make me feel tired as I am, but this is the only desperate measure I can take. You must find the true intention. Scene 1. Transfer Master Shou arrived at a place to settle down, and I'm already starting to get excited. Very much want to see the expression on those mercenaries when they discover my double. Everyone started laughing. Those bastards probably never thought they would become the ones being hunted. Big brother, if you join this game, they are totally screwed. Suddenly, Gong Tangxiu sensed an abnormality. The existence of his weapon appeared in an instant as he rushed out. When he felt something abnormal, he realized what it was. Nothing makes him start doubt himself. Could it be that I'm wrong? Little did I know that Shen Konghu, who was tailing him, had already changed his location. Perhaps he... It was merely because of that intuition that he survived in the midst of the fireworks. Yet his actions were obvious. It's obvious, and I will deal with you in the same way. The scene changes, and Shen Konghu is waiting for someone, along with several others. Where has this guy gone to that he's so late? Why is he so delayed? At this moment, the younger brother beside Shang Mei asked the boss. I must admit, I don't really believe that the White Rose Legion was wiped out by the Purification Union just a short while ago. I'm quite skeptical about it. He is a spy for the Cleaners Union. Yi Shangmei shows no sign of it. Li Yi, the leader with blue eyes whose identity was confirmed through the abyss. Na gained trust by providing mercenary services to multiple clients instead of forming an exclusive relationship with a specific group. Their relationship can maintain itself among numerous organizations. Neutrality means they have such abilities and power that Blue-Eyed can recommend him to us. So it means he has this ability, hence he is worth trusting. At that moment, Yin Shangmei's phone rang. When she opened it, a message appeared in front of her eyes. It was an encrypted message. The information was then notified to the younger brother to gather everyone. We left here immediately, while more people waited for Lord Shou at the entrance of the Fupen. Then the stuntman came out with many henchmen. The moment they stepped out, everyone immediately became alert. In an instant, the mercenaries all drew their weapons, preparing to kill each other. A substitute's command sparked a chaotic battle. In just one exchange, the mercenaries suffered significant losses. You damn guys, taste the fireworks. Just go and prepare to deal with the enemies in front as if you were a mercenary. A red line appeared above his head. With a bang, the hired soldier had just been engulfed by flames. The Count, who was devoured, chuckled at this scene. This is where the real fireworks begin as Lady Fireworks makes her move, trapping the mercenaries in a deadly situation. Are you ready to watch? Did the fireworks start? At this moment, the mercenaries only realized that they had long been trapped in the other party's trap, as their blood was continuously eroded by the poison. A mercenary soldier, a grand fireworks display also appeared, following the grand fireworks display's burst. The cost is the mercenaries' lives, but the true Grand Taishu is hiding within a ruin, cooperating with them. With his constellation, he can achieve perfect accuracy here. However, Gong Taishou doesn't know that there has always been something hidden behind him. At this moment, Shen Konghu knew that the plan was for the decoy to be in front and act as a distraction. Xiang Gong Taishou handled the enemies behind, while pretending to prepare again for Gong Taishou. During the performance, when the tiger beside him suddenly released its binding skill, Gong Taishou was instantly grabbed by Li Cheng. This sudden disappearance of Gong Taishou leaves his nearby subordinates at a loss. At this moment, Gong Taisho has already appeared before Shen Kanghu. Who exactly are you? What for? Grasping me, Shen Kanghu did not answer, but instead revealed a meaningful look. A deep smile spread across Shen Kanghu's face as he harbored murderous intentions, but his confident strike was about to begin. Disrupted by the other party, Shen Kanghu immediately redirected his weapon, but it was as if the dagger had been inserted. The moment it entered the other person's chest, Gong Taisho suddenly... This disappearing act makes Shen Kanghu frown. If this is that skill, he must be right next to me in the best position. It was right behind me. Shen Kanghu attacked towards the position behind him. Due to the stagger from the teleportation, Gong Taisho couldn't dodge Shen Kanghu's random stabs. However, Shen Kanghu seemed not to want to kill the other party and merely stabbed the dagger into them. At this moment, something unexpected happened to the other person's ribcage, and Gong Taisho's palm had already appeared. Before Shen Kanghu, only a boom of an explosion could be heard. In front of him, an explosion echoed, and after the blast's aftermath faded away, only to see intense flames ignite nearby. However, Shen Kanghu also vanished from his original spot. At this moment, Shen Kanghu was hiding in a corner observing the flame, which turned out to be much stronger than I imagined. Then the tiger actively showed itself, making the public master Xiao feel an immense anger. You damn bastard! Are you playing with me? At this moment, Shen Kanghu suddenly raised. Wave your fingers as a goodbye, for he will no longer belong to you. The sound of snapping fingers followed, and with it, a bang. The left arm of Daihyo from Shogun was bleeding profusely, the tearing pain making him unable to bear it. Roar loudly, and I will definitely deal with you myself. At this moment, Go Taishu has gone mad. Just as he was about to raise his left arm, an abnormal sensation arose as he realized he couldn't sense his left arm. When he turned his head to look, when he tried to move his left arm, he found that it had been severed at some point. At this moment, a blue claw grabs the severed left arm, and then the left arm appears in Shen Kanghu's hand. Seeing this scene left Gong Taishu completely out of her senses. She risked losing too much by grabbing Shen Kanghu. While looking at Shen, Kanghu had an expression full of playful mischief. This damn guy, don't let me catch you, just stay right here. When a group of people appeared in the unfinished building, he fell into panic upon recognizing who they were, only to realize that what belonged to him, his subordinates are all lying on the ground with no breath. Just then, Yi Xiangmei walked out. He could find. The reason he came here is because Shen Kanghu sent him a message beforehand. He knew all of Public Master Shu's plans were a scam from the information he received. The goal was to capture all the mercenaries at once. Meanwhile, Yi Xiangmei had already picked up her weapon and aimed at the Elder Sir. He just casually swung his weapon, and a powerful sword energy sent all the nearby corpses flying. Facing this powerful sword energy, Gong Taishu could only choose to run away. And just a few seconds later, Gong Taishu was enveloped by sword energy as the sword. When Qi disappeared, Gong Taishu had already fainted due to a lost state of consciousness because he lacked assistance from Gong Taishu. The substitute could no longer defend against the mercenaries' attack. I wonder when a weapon was inserted into the substitute's chest. This scene gave all the mercenaries hope of victory as soon as the substitute fell to the ground originally. The appearance that belonged to Public Master Shu suddenly changed into someone completely unrelated. That's when all the mercenaries realized it. Knowing they had been tricked and seemed to have lost their resolve to resist, right at this moment, Yi Xiangmei, suddenly appearing, he resolved all the enemies around him in just a few breaths. The appearance of Yi Xiangmei gave everyone a reason to live, and in an instant, all mercenaries became mixed up again. Fighting together, they didn't take long to slaughter the enemies completely. At this moment, one beauty's hand... The machine received another message. Please do not... The message of forgetting your promise made Ichika think of Kanghu's words, gradually pulling me deeper into the abyss. Upper Beauty replied to the other party that she would contact Abyss immediately after finishing up here. The screen then switched to a different scene. In an office, only Li Na is holding Gong Taisho's left arm. Your task can... His strength is impressive. To meet you here in Dadao makes me very happy. Don't mention that. Some polite talk. Koujiaoqi, what is he doing now? Li Na lightly laughed. I told him some wrong information, and now he should be hitting walls in Trenzhou. Compared to you, he is. It should be more concerned about this issue. I wonder if you have been following the news. This has already made you a big star, letting Shen Kanghu frown. This has deviated from the track of the novel. And this event has also affected Shen Kang. If a tiger takes a lesson, if it ever interacts with the Zhang family again, it must be careful. When Li Na put on a smile, I thought you should still work at Blue Eyes in the future. This is just my guess. Given that there's no better option, let's talk about the next quest then. You this time? The target name is Job Ding. He is a character in the game. The serial killer usually targets minors. He was last seen in this location. The archive of the Zero Emperor has more detailed information in it. Before you leave, you could learn more about Body Health Tiger. He had wanted to rest, but didn't expect this commission to be so quick. When he set out for the reset zone, he needed to make a series of preparations before leaving. Meanwhile, Zhang Shihuan was watching. The report on Shin Kang Ho is not bad at all. An interesting guy immediately called the intelligence team and asked them to gather all information about Grandfather Hyo and find that a hunter who chopped off his left arm appears on screen. In a high-rise building, Sheng Kang-hu found Han Chung-he, the general manager in charge of the underground city. We haven't met before, so we won't lend the underground city license to strangers we don't know. 10 billion yuan for one chance to buy a Batman replica license? Hearing those words, the man jumped in surprise. The man who was originally seated immediately got up and headed towards the door. And the man, who thought Shen Kang-hu was a rich fool, didn't expect him to be prepared like this. Knowing that the value of this copy is several times higher than 10 billion, the screen shifts, and Shen Kang-hu has already appeared in the copy. Wasting time quickly clears the minor enemies in the copy, as nearby enemies are cleared. By the time he completed it, his level had risen to 37, and he immediately allocated all the attribute points obtained from upgrading. Added to his endurance just then, a strange sound exploded, and before us appeared a three-eyed werewolf. The person is one of the reasons why Shen Kang-hu came here, to see the boss. Shen Kang-hu appeared without hesitation and immediately lunged at the opponent. The werewolf saw this and released magic with both hands. The lava beneath the bridge erupted instantly, as if it wanted to engulf everything. Following the werewolf's mental command, the originally slow-moving lava suddenly became explosive. Anger emerged as Shen Kang-hu released his clone, which allowed the werewolf to smell a scent of prey. The object's presence contracted instantly as it began to gather strength. In an instant, a burst of scorching flame erupted forth. However, Shen Kang-hu utilized his clone to block this attack. After the clone vanished, it turned into several light points. The werewolf swallowed all of them. After completing the consumption, the werewolf recovered some magic values. Truly nice food. For this scene, Shen Kang-hu didn't feel surprised. As expected, you and I thought the same way. This time, let me make a special meal for you. To solve the problem of the werewolf, Shen Kang-hu had been laying the groundwork long ago. Using the skill book obtained from the previous boss, he did not waste it, but waited for this moment. His value would be shown at this moment. Following the werewolf's mental control, countless flames attacked Shen Kang-hu. He also dodged with flexible movements. At this time, he once again manifested several clones. When the clones appeared, a familiar scent could be detected. However, Shen Kang-hu utilized his clone to block this attack. After the clone vanished, it turned into several light points. The werewolf swallowed all of them. After completing the consumption, the werewolf recovered some magic values. Truly nice food. For this scene, Shen Kang-hu didn't feel surprised. As expected, you and I thought the same way. This time, let me make a special meal for you. To solve the problem of the werewolf, Shen Kang-hu had been laying the groundwork long ago. Using the skill book obtained from the previous boss, he did not waste it but waited for this moment. His value would be shown at this moment. Following the werewolf's mental control, countless flames attacked Shen Kang-hu. He also dodged with flexible movements. At this time, he once again manifested several clones. When the clones appeared, a familiar scent could be detected. However, Shen Kang-hu utilized his clone to block this attack. After the clone vanished, it turned into several light points. The werewolf swallowed all of them. After completing the consumption, the werewolf recovered some magic values. Truly nice food. For this scene, Shen Kang-hu didn't feel surprised. As expected, you and I thought the same way. This time, let me make a special meal for you. To solve the problem of the werewolf, Shen Kang-hu had been laying the groundwork long ago. Using the skill book obtained from the previous boss, he did not waste it but waited for this moment. His value would be shown at this moment. Following the werewolf's mental control, countless flames attacked Shen Kang-hu. He also dodged with flexible movements. At this time, he once again manifested several clones. When the clones appeared, a familiar scent could be detected. However, Shen Kang-hu utilized his clone to block this attack. After the clone vanished, it turned into several light points. The werewolf swallowed all of them. After completing the consumption, the werewolf recovered some magic values. Truly nice food. For this scene, Shen Kang-hu didn't feel surprised. As expected, you and I thought the same way. This time, let me make a special meal for you. To solve the problem of the werewolf, Shen Kang-hu had been laying the groundwork long ago. Using the skill book obtained from the previous boss, he did not waste it but waited for this moment. His value would be shown at this moment. Following the werewolf's mental control, countless flames attacked Shen Kang-hu. He also dodged with flexible movements. At this time, he once again manifested several clones. When the clones appeared, a familiar scent could be detected. However, Shen Kang-hu utilized his clone to block this attack. After the clone vanished, it turned into several light points. The werewolf swallowed all of them. After completing the consumption, the werewolf recovered some magic values. Truly nice food. For this scene, Shen Kang-hu didn't feel surprised. As expected, you and I thought the same way. This time, let me make a special meal for you. To solve the problem of the werewolf, Shen Kang-hu had been laying the groundwork long ago. Using the skill book obtained from the previous boss, he did not waste it but waited for this moment. His value would be shown at this moment. Following the werewolf's mental control, countless flames attacked Shen Kang-hu. He also dodged with flexible movements. At this time, he once again manifested several clones. When the clones appeared, a familiar scent could be detected. However, Shen Kang-hu utilized his clone to block this attack. After the clone vanished, it turned into several light points. The werewolf swallowed all of them. After completing the consumption, the werewolf recovered some magic values. Truly nice food. For this scene, Shen Kang-hu didn't feel surprised. As expected, you and I thought the same way. This time, let me make a special meal for you. To solve the problem of the werewolf, Shen Kung-hu had been laying the groundwork long ago. Using the skill book obtained from the previous boss, he did not waste it but waited for this moment. His value would be shown at this moment. Following the werewolf's mental control, countless flames attacked Shen Kung-hu. He also dodged with flexible movements. At this time, he once again manifested several clones. When the clones appeared, a familiar scent could be detected. However, Shen Kung-hu utilized his clone to block this attack. After the clone vanished, it turned into several light points. The werewolf swallowed all of them. After completing the consumption, the werewolf recovered some magic values. Truly nice food. For this scene, Shen Kung-hu didn't feel surprised. As expected, you and I thought the same way. This time, let me make a special meal for you. To solve the problem of the werewolf, Shen Kung-hu had been laying the groundwork long ago. Using the skill book obtained from the previous boss, he did not waste it but waited for this moment. His value would be shown at this moment. Following the werewolf's mental control, countless flames attacked Shen Kung-hu. He also dodged with flexible movements. At this time, he once again manifested several clones. When the clones appeared, a familiar scent could be detected. However, Shen Kung-hu utilized his clone to block this attack. After the clone vanished, it turned into several light points. The werewolf swallowed all of them. After completing the consumption, the werewolf recovered some magic values. Truly nice food. For this scene, Shen Kung-hu didn't feel surprised. As expected, you and I thought the same way. This time, let me make a special meal for you. To solve the problem of the werewolf, Shen Kung-hu had been laying the groundwork long ago. Using the skill book obtained from the previous boss, he did not waste it but waited for this moment. His value would be shown at this moment. Following the werewolf's mental control, countless flames attacked Shen Kung-hu. He also dodged with flexible movements. At this time, he once again manifested several clones. When the clones appeared, a familiar scent could be detected. Detected by the werewolf. Letting the werewolf hesitate for a moment, the werewolf was about to replicate the move and release flames once more. At the same time, Shen Kung-hu's hand moved. An additional skill book appeared, and Shen Kung-hu prepared to read it at the right moment while holding it. The skill book was thrown out, and immediately the skill book passed through the clones straight ahead. Enjoy the delicious food I've prepared for you while going towards the flames. This flavor will leave you yearning for more. Poverty soon had flames consume it. Eating the clone is similar to before. The werewolf once again devoured all the light points as it savored its meal. Yet, I found that the taste of the food this time was different from before. Just then, the skill book suddenly appeared above the werewolf, followed by a bright... The light in the eye appeared and faded, transforming into several beams of light that turned into a few glowing points near the werewolf. Both hands wrapped up, but at this moment, an unexpected change occurred in front of the werewolf. A system notification suddenly appeared, indicating that skills could not be used. You have no weapon. The werewolf wanted to try again, but found that the system was constantly reminding him of this. Let the werewolf feel an immense anger, you damn thing. What have you? It seems you're not satisfied with the food I gave you.